You're live.
Hello, hello.
Hey everyone, welcome.
Welcome in Soul Tribe and welcome back to our channel, Jake and Corbin.
Hey.
And welcome into another episode of Fate and Fortune. This time we're going to cover the trines between Uranus and Pluto. So today we'll be discussing the upcoming trines between Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. And actually, one's happening today, right now. So come on in. It's a perfect time. These trines will, because they're outer planets, will be lasting all the way through 2028, 2029. This is a much longer cycle and sequence that we'll be talking about. And we're going to go around the wheel, sign by sign, highlighting different personal topics and themes for each zodiac sign. And we're not going to start with Aries. We're switching it up again. Sorry, Aries.
You'll get your chance again. You'll get your chance again. Don't worry.
You'll definitely get your chance again. So make sure that you grab your chart as we start digging into this upcoming alignment between the Sky Father and the Lord of the Underworld. And yeah, my name is Corbin. I am a Pisces sun, a Cancer moon, and a Capricorn rising. I'm a natal astrologer. I practice a blend of kind of ancient and modern, although I really heavily draw from the Hellenistic techniques. I love mundane astrology and looking at different cycles to kind of unpack different transits so we can understand the different chapters that are going on in our lives. And I'm joined by Jake today.
Indeed. Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Jake. I'm a hypnotherapist, a quantum guide, and I help you to connect with your higher self, connect with past lives, future lives, connect through that quantum web to create the best possible present for you now, to help you tap into your dreams, create that change in your life, really make the best of this lifetime, this incarnation. You're here for a reason, and your higher self knows. So if you are interested, definitely book with me to connect with your higher self, connect with the past and the future. And I'm a Pisces sun, Aquarius moon, and Libra rising. I always forget every time I try to say it. I'm like blank. What is my astrology?
We still have the Mercury retrograde going on, so we'll give a couple passes here and there. But welcome to everyone joining in as you're coming in Soul Tribe. Make sure that you are sharing your sun, moon, and rising in the chat. Also make sure that you are liking and sharing out this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we are so darn close to monetization, y'all. We need your help. Just a couple more subscribers, and yeah, big things happening here on the channel.
Yeah, the likes help. The comments definitely help. I know many of you join us in the live chats, and that's huge. Make sure you, as you're leaving, go leave a comment in the actual comments as well. It helps to boost things and get the message out there. So appreciate you all.
Jake's been working real hard at this, so let's show him some love and help us get over that.
Help us get over that hurdle. Yeah.
And then just a couple other reminders before we jump in today. I offer 1-hour astrology readings on Zoom. I do natal chart readings in whole sign. So if you haven't ever looked at your chart in whole sign, or if you're unfamiliar with what your natal chart looks like, we offer natal chart readings 1 hour on Zoom. It's $111 for a 1-hour reading. And I also do astrology forecasts. So if you're making plans for the next 1 to 3 years, or if you have a project or something coming up that you are planning for, I'd love to chat with you about that and help to find the most opportune moments within the next few years to help you manifest whatever you are trying to bring into this world. So we also have those forecasts as well.
Yeah, and I put links in the chat for Corbin's bookings, and then also for my bookings. I am a hypnotherapist, but I'm also a tarot reader, and that's mostly what I'm doing today is reading the cards for you guys, reading the cards for us as we delve into this transit. So if you like my style, if you're interested in learning from the cards yourself, getting some insight from your higher self, definitely book that tarot reading. I do 60-minute readings, 144, link down in the chat or in the description as well, as always.
Who's in this morning? Sorry, I haven't seen anything.
We have...
Good morning, Jody.
Yeah, we've got Jody. We've got Ken in here. We've got Lynn. There are definitely other people joining us too. So say hi in the chat if you guys are joining us live. And like Corbin said, give us your sun, moon, rising. Let us know what energies you bring to this lifetime, and stick around for your reading.
Yeah. So just a little disclaimer here, real briefly. This is not a show about the basket. We are not talking about the basket today. I feel like everyone's just maybe gone a little basket crazy recently, and basket cases. And while I just want to set the table and say, from a traditional standpoint, we don't really look at aspect patterns. It's not really like what is going to give the most clarity to what's going on inside of your chart. And yeah, I just traditionally don't use terms like basket or cradle. And frankly, according to the ancient astrologers, sextiles are really kind of considered the weakest of all of the aspects and probably have the least clear effects on the manifestations of your life. And so today we're focusing on the trines that are part of the basket, okay? And these air trines that are happening between Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius last for so much longer than the basket. I think this conversation is probably much more valuable than like that thing that's happening for the next week. So just want to kind of put that one out there. This is looking at a much larger period of time than this summer. These trines actually kind of started to come into effect in late 2024 and will be in the astrology and in the sky all the way until 2029. And so, yeah, I just want to be clear, this is not the basket, but this helps to break down the basket into a way that is more meaningful for you and very specified for what's going on inside of your chart. Because like I said, we're going to do it for all 12 signs.
Hello, everyone joining. Thank you for your comments.
I just feel like people have gotten a little overboard on basket. And I know it's important to be quippy and to have that hook and to bring people in, and you want something unique. And that's why we're turning away from the basket today. We are just going to talk about the trines between Uranus and Pluto and just kind of start moving from there. So I think it's really important that we just start by briefly talking about these two different archetypal energies so we can become familiar with them and then start to think about how this is going to show up more personally for ourselves. I think a lot of the conversation around these outer planets have really centered around how this is going to bring larger societal changes over the next handful of years. And while that is true, we all are living our own individual unique lives, and finding the meaning inside of that is sometimes more important. I remember a few weeks ago at the Uranus-Mars moment, someone was like, oh my gosh, tell me, what do you think is going to happen for the United States? And I said, well, I'm not really focused on that. I'm more so focused on how this might be unfolding inside of my internal life. Because I would much rather be understanding that than kind of giving my time, energy, and resources to something that I'm not manifesting. So anyways, Uranus, we love Uranus, in the traditional mythology, definitely known as the Great Awakener. Uranus is often associated with breakthroughs of information and knowledge. We often see symbols associated with like a lightning bolt or this thing that kind of clears the path for something new to be coming in. It really has a lot of associations with, being free to awakening to the freedom of our desires and that which we want, being liberated from oppressive structures, freeing the mind and being able to kind of explore more and kind of serving and catalyzing new beginnings. Inside of Gemini, a lot of what Uranus will be working on is kind of switching up the ways in which we communicate and exchange ideas and information, right? Gemini is all about that mental aspect. And so there'll be a lot with Uranus inside of Gemini, which really will break us out of some of our old traditional boxes with how we relate to each other, how we exchange information, ideas, and how we kind of communicate on a whole. Pluto brings in a completely different aspect inside of this, being the Lord of the Underworld or the Lord of Transformation. Pluto brings in topics that relate to our shadow, our drive for power, our ego, our unconscious mind. Pluto brings in this level of intensity and desire and passion and urge that can make things very kind of like extreme. Pluto also likes to, from that underworld, bring up the shadows, bring up the hidden desires, bring up the wealth, bring up things from below. And inside of the sign of Aquarius, we're really going to be looking at an innovation and social progress as the ways that different communities and different structures that support communities begin to shift and change so that the power becomes kind of decentralized at the top and more so, here for all of us. There's a way that both of these energies are working together because of this trine, where Pluto's transformative force is supporting Uranus's desire to break through and liberate, and Uranus's kind of liberating qualities assist Pluto in that process of death and rebirth and being reborn again. So there's just kind of like these unlimited ideas here as it comes to growth, change, and kind of newness coming in, all kinds of transformative evolution, boundless potential, next leveling, kind of this cataclysmic transformation. I mean, ideologically, working with these symbols is kind of so grandiose. And of course, we're going to bring this down into like a much more personalized level for each sign, but this is kind of just that bigger high level idea of what's going on here. And so, like I said, I really love looking at different cycles that are happening to get a deeper understanding of what is really unfolding here. And Pluto and Uranus are at their trine right now. Well, they first came together a long time ago, about 60 some years ago, when they first came together in the sign of Virgo. And these two planets, always when they meet and as their cycle unfolds, there's always this energy of this revolutionary or radical kind of cultural change that can often happen in tandem with technological innovations. And we really usually see kind of like the way that society is transformed and changed by all of this kind of newness. They usually have a cycle of 127 years and come together, once in about that range. And so, yeah, this is definitely like a once in a lifetime kind of thing that I want to mention here.
Mhm.
Some of you, of course, were born under that Pluto-Uranus conjunction in the 60s that kind of kicked off this cycle that started back in Virgo.
Yeah, we got Ken or Lynn saying that's me, Jody Ken.
Yeah, absolutely.
That generation.
But this trine that's happening here, definitely like, a once in a lifetime kind of a thing. Some of us might see 2 Pluto-Uranus trines in our lifetime. But when we talk about our soul's growth and kind of, the things that we came here to do, 2024 to 2029 really points out a very large period of time for soul growth. So yeah, these outer planets, though, like I said at the beginning, they move slowly, slow. This is not about this week's pop astrology. This is about, I always like to think of the outer planets more like the tectonic plates and a slower moving force that's underneath the surface that's kind of driving and pushing change. And you don't always see it at first, but sometimes it bubbles up in a big earthquake and you're like, oh, big shifts there. But it's really kind of like a baseline drum beat in the song of the astrology that's going on right now. And this really will be supporting all of us for more than just this week. So I just want to be super duper clear about that.
Is it a Pluto-Uranus return for them, those with that configuration in the 60s, or is it? No, it's just the same configuration.
Just be yeah. So, if you're familiar with the concept or the idea of progressions, often we look at where something started when you were born versus how far it's traveled since then. So I guess the proper way to talk about this for folks with the 60s is saying that conjunction of Pluto and Uranus in the 60s has now progressed into a trine. So, 60 years ago, they were together and they've both been moving forward throughout the astrology. And now they're at an angle where they're 120 degrees apart from each other. It will be another 60, be another quite a bit of a chunk of time before they come back together again. And we won't be alive for that unless things dramatically change.
Gotcha.
But thinking back to the 60s when this did happen, 1965, 1966, this happened in the sign of Virgo. The ways that transformation and technology came together and kind of combined with Virgo is really interesting when we think about microchips and the computer. This was definitely a period of time where everything was getting smaller. When we think about Virgo, Virgo relates to very, very small things. You know, we have Pisces on the opposite side being large, grandiose, big, giant things. And Virgo has those teeny tiny little things. And so in the 60s, we saw those chips that like processed computers, you know, that all that memory works on, all that processing power. Those chips became microchips, right? And then we started to have personal computers rather than computers that filled up entire rooms. And that led for kind of that dissemination of technology to move into kind of like households, right? And right now we have that trine. And I think it's very fascinating to see that the biggest corporations are the chip companies, right? If you look at like some of the most valuable kinds of companies out there right now, and that's really Pluto, right? Pluto relates to our riches. There's that term plutocrat, right? And so that right there just shows us, you know, at the seed point, there was this conversation around chips and computers and micro things. And now at the trine, the people who have those companies have the most successful companies in the world. So it's all to say that something that perhaps if you were born in the 60s, something that you came in here to share with others as related to your Virgoan house and wherever that kind of falls into your wheel. There's something about that now that's kind of crescendoing and coming to one of its greater manifestations.
Lynn saying potato chips, haha.
Potato chips. Yeah. You know, and at the same time, it might be interesting to see what happens with computing and all the computer chips. But anyways, that's not really what we're here to focus on. We want to kind of keep this conversation more personal today. But of course, we do need to draw from some of those bigger things just so we can kind of see it coming in. All righty. Just trying to like run through this as fast as possible.
You're doing great. Jumping into the dates.
There are some dates that I think are really important here that I want to bring up. So there are 5 degree-based trines, okay? And so to the degree, these 2 planets are lined up, you know, and I feel like I should have, oh, that's on there. And I feel like I should have said like Gemini Aquarius here though, because it's at Mercury retrograde. Anyways, so this year there'll be 2 moments where Uranus and Pluto will have these degree-based trines. The first one is happening right now. And because of retrogradation, you know, both Uranus and Pluto take periods of going a little bit backwards and a little bit forwards. And they'll do this dance in the sky over the next handful of years. They will line up into these degree-based trines, like I said, on 5 times. And so first one now, July 18th. Again, later this year on November 29th. Next year, we'll see it again in the summer on June 15th. This time a little bit later in Gemini and Aquarius, so at 6 degrees. And then in 2028, there'll be 2 degree-based ones, again at 6 degrees of Gemini, and then the later one at 8. And so this dance between Uranus and Pluto really almost encompasses the first decan of Gemini and Aquarius. So basically the first 10 degrees of Gemini and Aquarius. I would say if you have any personal planets, any, you know, celestial things there, really kind of a potent period for you. And of course, we'll be going through each sign. What's most fascinating, though, and I, you know, when Jake and I were kind of unpacking this together at home, we talked about how in late 2024, Uranus was in Taurus at the end of the Taurian degrees, and Pluto was in Capricorn at the late degrees of Capricorn. And so while they weren't in a degree-based trine at this time, they were only about 1 or 2 degrees apart from each other for quite a period of time. And so I really feel like these trines first started at the end of 2024, progressed into 2025. Here we have them more in 2026. But they started in some of these earth signs, and they started at the end degrees of earth signs. And so if in 2024 and 2025, there were some of those periods of things ending, closing, clearing out, that was part of the first chapter of all of this, because again, Uranus would have wanted you to break away from something in your old material world to make way for something new, perhaps in this airy, intellectual, social place. Ditto Pluto too. And so, yeah, it's just part of the larger cycle to be reflecting on here, to see kind of that bigger story that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these are slow moving outer planets. This is not something that you're waking up to. It's not about one day in life. It's a much longer process of change.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of this, I want to say they kind of do a similar dance in 2029, where they aren't actually like in a degree-based trine, but they are only about 1 or 2 degrees apart from each other. And so, yeah, there's just there's like 5 years here where this is kind of in play, where this is working to radically transform your life. And now that we're done with some of that earth phase, this is really about creating new social structures, connecting with people over new types of information, and really bringing about a new you that you are sharing with other people. You've maybe been working on developing this privately, and now you're going to have like friends and social structures that help you to create these visions, even beyond like in your mind and in the greater world. So it's cool shit.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I definitely admire the ways that you can condense some of this stuff. I mean,
I wrote way too much.
always. But
I wrote way too much, and we have family plans later today, and so I'm going fast.
And I told Corbin, I said, just do another show. Just do another deep dive. People would love to hear that. So
what I really want to deep dive in would be kind of the connection of the trines that happened from the previous Pluto-Uranus cycle. So the last time that they came together was in 1850s, and they did so in the sign of Aries, and that really kind of kicked off a lot of things. Again, their trines as it's relating to right now. When we look at the closing trine that happened in the 1920s, there was so much freaking like geopolitical and social kind of stuff that like really shaped for that new era of that period of time. Like in the 20s, this is when Hitler, this was when Mussolini, this is when Stalin, everyone started to, I mean, they weren't at their full power, but this is when some of those parties were formed, when some of these ideologies really started to hit the mainstream. Communism, socialism, fascism, that's the 20s. It definitely went different places the longer that stayed around. The 20s, we also saw women's rights movements, suffrage, right? The women's right to vote. We had the second industrial revolution. So there's some of that Uranus technology, women's rights, some of that Pluto, my power, my authority. It's jazz music. I think there's like a lot of innovation that came out of this period of time that speaks to, the creativity of the human soul. So yeah, maybe some of these kind of more universal things can fall somewhere else. Because that tech transformation is here. Is it AI? I don't think it is AI. I think it's something else. Are there new forms of healing, new modalities for stuff like that? Like that's some, anyways. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're not starting with Aries.
We're not. We're diving into this with Aquarius, you get to be first. When have you ever been first? I feel like Aquarius, they're too focused on the group to be first sometimes.
I want to pull up the wheel here.
Yeah, let's do it. Bam.
All righty. So we got the wheel here, and I've definitely pared everything down so that we only have Pluto and Uranus on the wheel here. And Jake made a lovely, fun little background for us too. So yay, that's very exciting. I have this queued up for just basically right now, as the two of them are making that degree-based trine right now today at 4 degrees of those air signs.
Lynn's mad it's not Cancer first because it should be Cancer season. Cancer should go first. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Watkins gets to go first. There you go. Love it.
All righty. So, Aquarius rising. Well, boy, oh boy, you won't see this one again in your lifetime. And what a interesting path of soul growth you have chosen in this lifetime. I want to be very clear in saying that Pluto going through your first house is definitely one that you should put in your journal, and definitely one that you will be journaling about for a long time here. You know, the first house is an angular house, 1, 4, 7, and 10. And when we see things in 1, 4, 7, and 10, it's like, oh boy, here's the big show. This is the big stuff. They're really the most active houses inside of the chart. And the first house, we talk about that in traditional astrology as the helm. You know, it's kind of the rudder or the steering mechanism of the ship of your life, of you, your body, your main character energy, your identity. I mean, there is so much that is kind of packed into the first house. But just like, you know, just like the helm of the ship, the first house represents that vessel of your life and how your body is that vessel to carry your soul through everything that you are here and doing. And with Pluto entering your first house, which it's been in for a moment, right? This shouldn't be new news to you. But there are a lot of shifting tides and new directions that are coming up for you to be moving into. This definitely indicates a large switch in path of like life course and life direction. And one of the things that's really cool about this is that Pluto's actually asking you to start to bring to the surface of your identity, to the surface of your personality, some of these more hidden aspects of yourself that you might not have even thought that you had an opportunity or a chance to share this time. You know, there's something about stepping into this that is allowing you to be expressing more of that true Aquarian nature of self. Sometimes with Aquarius, it's like very ideological and in the mind. And so that might be one of the things that you're overcoming here is you've maybe held a mental vision or a mental image or even just a philosophy of how you want to be showing up in the world. And maybe this is now an opportunity to be integrating that or to be bringing that in a new and bigger kind of a way. The first house in ancient astrology is also really associated with births and birthings. You know, if you think about the ascendant as that place where the sun was when you were born, there is so much inside of this that indicates that the first house just has a deep relationship with birthing something new. And so this could just reflect a period of profound change where something new is ready to be born, physical or ideological. Again, Pluto might be asking, though, for us to be examining and letting go of some of the aspects of self that no longer serve us along our mission anymore. So often Pluto in the first can have these tough egoic moments where we are facing our shadows and really being asked to step into that flame of transformation. We're really being asked to burn like the coal, and then eventually you can become the phoenix. And you know, what's really cool about that is that Uranus in your fifth, Uranus in the is like, this is a very exciting place for Uranus to be. The fifth house is all about expressing who you are. In Hellenistic astrology, we associate it with the house of Venus. It's known as the joy of Venus and a house of good fortune. And in modern, we talk about like our children and our hobbies and romance and the arts and pleasure. And that really is all more of this aspect of Venus, right? If we think about the evolutionary cycle here, in the fourth house, we establish our home. In the fifth house, we are now free to have fun and to play there. And the joy that you're bringing in through your fifth house, we're really now asking for that to be more of a truer, clearer spark related to you. There's, you know, um, yeah, your radiant love bomb. I don't know how it was going to transition into that one. There's definitely like a shakeup in this world, though. Uranus wants a little bit of dabbling, a little bit of experimentation. And so there could be new things blowing up that bring you so much joy and so much love, like a love bomb, that are kind of coming in. These moments of joy that are being sparked by new experiences and new expressions of self really just kind of help orient you in a new direction. And so 1 in 5, these are really houses about showing up in a new kind of a way on a new mission. There's very much this up leveling of this creative force that assists in that transformation of self, just as these adjustments in your creative expression shift the rudder. As you change direction, you're going to be kind of oriented closer towards your North Star and towards what is most fulfilling for your soul. And throughout all of this, there's huge moments and opportunities for social collaboration. So if you can find a buddy to be doing any of these fun projects with you, that's great. If you can find someone to share some of these new ideas that are coming in about how you want to show up and who you want to be, all of this kind of social interchange will help foster some of the upgrades that are happening inside of your life at this time.
I love it. Let me pop the chart down here and let's see what the cards have to say for Aquarius. What further insight or guidance do you have for the Aquarians? Thank you. Yes, thank you. All right. All right, Aquarius. And this is especially for the risings, but we also throw this out there for the suns and the moons and maybe the Venus if you're feeling really creative. And as with anything, take what resonates, leave the rest. All right, so Aquarius, you have some beautiful cards here. We start out with art, the art card. This is Justice in the original tarot, I believe. I want to say it's Justice. Suspension. This is the Hanged Man. Then we have Two of Pentacles, the Three of Wands, the Eight of Swords, and the Sun card. So the first thing that I noticed was that Two of Pentacles and that Three of Wands right in the middle of the spread here, really doubling down, I think, on that note that Corbin said about partnerships or community or support from those around you. I think both of these cards really hint at that importance and the value that has for you. But ultimately, this period of time is about that rebalancing of, I think, you and who you are and how you show up in the world. There's like a creativity that you're being called to bring in a new way. And a lot of this comes from a shift in perspective, a shift in your vantage point. And I think some of that too comes from like going into the depths, exploring your darkness, some of those things that you maybe have not looked at for a moment. I always see the loon that's in this card. And for those of you who aren't from Minnesota or the North and you aren't familiar with loons have red eyes, and they're deep divers. They dive down into the deep waters of the lake and they grab, I believe plants, maybe little fishes, but they dive down deeper than most birds do. Then we have that Two of Pentacles, that Three of Wands, reminding you of that collaboration, that community, that support from those around you, because this certainly is going to be a period of some challenge, some I don't want to say necessarily conflict, but as you shift and change, right? Corbin was talking about those first house transformations. It's like as you shift and change, you might find people not in alignment with that new version of you. You might find some challenge or some feisty energy in your life as you shift and change, because ultimately you're stepping into that new radiant version of you. You're channeling your soul's light in a new way, and you're stepping into really your radiant light in beautiful, new, transformational ways.
I love that because I have pulled Vesta. So Vesta is an asteroid for those who aren't familiar. And Vesta relates to the hearth or our inner flame. There's often a lot of associations with Vesta and our spirituality. And, just inside of this reading for you, Aquarius, it makes me think about the ways that Aquarius can be a little bit, it's a fixed air sign, right? So you can be a little bit stuck in your ways around what you believe, how you think it all pulls together. And again, Pluto is really going to be working on shaking up some of this stuff here, especially with Uranus. And it just reminds me that in the end, it's going to perhaps address some of the spiritual questions that you may have, Aquarius, and using that as creating kind of a new foundation here, because the hearth is very foundational in the home. And so there might be just new ideological lenses for Aquarius rising to be putting on that are creating a more kind of warm place to be working from. Aquarius is a Saturn ruled sign, and so Aquarius can tend to be rather cold. And so another way that I think about this too is how can some of our black sheep warm up to the role that they play inside of community and be joining in community, not more from like an outside standpoint, but from a way that we're connecting on what's all together inside of our hearts or inside of our hearths, which is this like eternal flame.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So yeah, let us know what resonates for you. You likely have the foundations of this already starting, right? You'd say probably look at 24, 25 and the things that are shifting and changing to get a flavor for that.
Yeah, most recently these shifts, I think the Uranus shifts inside of the fourth house, something really would have changed inside of the home, inside of the last 7 years, that would have allowed for or created space for whatever is trying to be coming out now. Thinking about perhaps some of the shifts as it related, your 10th house career is on the opposite side of that too. So perhaps there might have been some shifts in home or career near the end of 2024 or the beginning of 2025 that have kind of created this space to be emerging from now. That would be a great time to be thinking about this. I mean, as we were unpacking your Aquarius stuff, it was like too obvious.
Yeah,
so
right.
Gotta love the astrology.
Well, there you go, Aquarius. Good luck with these transits, and lean on that support. Lean on that support from your higher self, from your guides, and let us know what you're looking forward to. Because the transformation, I think we're all yearning for transformation in one way or another. All right, Pisces, you're up next.
All right. Hello and welcome in, Pisces. This is your mini reading for the Uranus Pluto trines that we have going on now all the way through like 2029. We'll be diving into this personalized for you, Pisces sun, moon, and rising. So here we have on the chart for Pisces, and in this configuration, we have Pluto, who has recently entered your 12th house. So Pluto's in your 12th house here, and Uranus, who even more recently has entered your 4th house of home and family. And they are in a harmonious trine right now. So Uranus entering the 4th, I'm going to start with that one just because your 4th house is angular. And so this one might be a little bit more noticeable. But as Uranus has entered the 4th house here, you are being called into a renaissance and a revolutionary period as it relates to your roots, the family from which you come from, your ancestors. Right off of a bat, I think of this as kind of like a big shakeup or a big earthquake in the realm that we define as home. Now, a reminder, home isn't just the 4 walls that are around us. It is often a much more kind of an ideological place or space that is unique for everyone, that, you know, involves the different things that make us feel comfortable, safe, secure, nurtured, and cared for. And again, that's different for everyone. So right off the bat, as Uranus enters this area, some of those needs, some of those requirements around what home is or what might go into feeling like home, that could really be changing for you in a way that is more aligned with your best and highest good, most authentic for you. There could be very large shifts at home during this time. People coming, people going. So deaths that really impact the family, as well as births that really excite and enliven everyone at home too, right? These changes really will kind of shake up the daily routines in a kind of a way. And I wrote down, will give you an exciting reason to wake up. You know, the 4th house, also one of my favorite things from kind of the more ancient traditions here, is that the 4th house is often related to some of those kind of more hidden topics of life, or some of those more mysterious things. So if we think about kind of like the esoteric arts or like mystery school stuff, sometimes that falls into the 4th house too. So this could be a period of time where you, Pisces rising, you're really digging into some new topics and learning about some of the hidden wisdom of our world. That could be really lighting you up at this time. And as this all relates to Pluto in the 12th, well, Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th, the 12th house is kind of a more difficult place. You know, in traditional astrology, I'd say 6 and 12 are generally the 2 difficult places where we can really see difficult karma unfolding and manifesting. It's known as the place of bad spirit, which, if I like translate that into modern talk, I would say it's the place of mental health, or like of mental health issues. And it often can represent the need to take a break from our daily routine to deal with the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the psychological issues that underline everyday existence. The 12th house is definitely a place where we need to find a little bit of solitude, where we need to kind of remove ourselves and take a bit of a retreat to kind of work through some of this stuff. Now, with Pluto going through your 12th, and traditionally the 12th, or modernly, the 12th house is kind of a Piscean place. I really see this for you, Pisces rising, as an opportunity to embrace and to change the ways in which you escape. Okay. Like, I'm a Pisces sun. I totally get the idea of ignoring, moving away, escaping, not dealing with. And with Pluto in your 12th house, you have a huge opportunity here to make sure that you're bringing in a lot of healthy tactics and ways on going about dealing with your own personal mental health. Of course, Pluto being in this realm, right? Pluto has this ability to take things that are very, very small and make them very, very big so that we have to deal with them. And so small stressors or small anxieties might be getting bigger and bigger and bigger, especially as they relate to these different kinds of social settings or social situations as implied by all of the air signs here. Again, you are being asked to kind of especially deal with these changes inside of your home in new and different ways. This could, again, trigger a lot of physical, mental health topics that are being brought up to clear at this time. But working through those allows you then to deal with the shadow, deal with the ego, and move forward in a much more free kind of a way. And so for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, this isn't like the most shiny one. It definitely indicates a little bit of work for you ahead. But knowing that the opportunity here really exists inside of the 12th house, Pisces, you're already really good at dealing with some of these things about creating that space to go through the emotions. And so it's almost kind of like an up-leveling of some of your Piscean gifts and skills that you already have, but you will be challenged in new ways to step into unconditional love for sure. So yeah, we'll dig into the cards and we'll see what else pops up for Pisces.
Yes, let us see. And Watkins' daughter is a Pisces rising, and they have seen those changes in the family already starting.
There you go. And again, Uranus entered Gemini for a little bit last fall. And so we got a little bit of a preview then. There's lots of different moments that we can kind of reference to understand how this is all unfolding. And of course, y'all are so observant and aware of your lives. So it's great that we can find these connections easily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, sorry. One last thing. No, you can go and then I'll one last thing.
Okay. All right. So the cards we've got for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, especially those risings. We're starting out with the 8 of Cups, seclusion, journey, Page of Wands right next to it. And I think those are really highlighting that journey that you are starting. This isn't about an overnight change. This is about a process, and about not only doing the things emotionally, internally that help you along that journey, but taking the physical actions as well and setting out on that path, recognizing, hey, things are shifting and changing. I'm going to embrace that. And we have 10 of Pentacles right in the middle here. I think really emphasizing that familial tie and the ways that this is going to be shifting things on a physical level for you too. The 10 of Pentacles, I always see as a fairly positive card. Affluence is the word on it. And so I do feel like this is for your best and highest good, but it may have some challenge to it. We have the 5 of Swords coming up next. And next to that one, we have the 10 of Wands. And so destruction and oppression are the words on those cards. And so that's not to say that you're entering a period of doom and gloom by any means, but that 5 energy is that transformational energy, that turning a corner, that sort of contention or challenge that helps you to shift and change and move into that new way of being, that new way of acting. And this 10 of Wands is followed by the Queen of Wands. And so I feel like there really is this regeneration is the word on that card. There's this regeneration for you in your physicality, but also in some of the tough stuff that you might be carrying. And that could be familial responsibility, that could be partnerships or relationships that are not necessarily equal, and they weigh on you. And I feel like there's really this this reconnection to, if you look at the card here, there's this sunbeam reaching down into her staff there. I feel like there's this reconnection to your soul's light and energy, and to the cosmos as well, for many Pisces risings and suns and moons.
Nice, nice. I had pulled the card Neptune over here, which like led me into the note that I had. Can you pull up the wheel again?
Absolutely.
So Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, right? Jupiter, the traditional ruler of Pisces. I just put Jupiter back on the wheel here because I did want to mention this next year. I guess the first year would have been 2024, right? This next year, 2026, while Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces, right? While Jupiter is inside of Leo, making this opposition to Pluto, I really just want to emphasize that this year of 2026 into the summer of 2027, this could be one of the more dramatic periods of this cycle for Pisces rising. I think 28, 29 will be a lot more calm for Pisces. And that really is because Jupiter is in this 6th house here, where we talk about some of the difficult things that happen to our physical body, or the ways that we have to sacrifice throughout our daily life to make everything happen. And that really is coming into this challenging conversation with Pluto as it relates to kind of our mental health here. And so I just want to mention for Pisces sun, moon, and rising, a little bit of extra empathy and compassion for yourself or for the Pisces around you, a little bit of extra conditional love for the Pisces around you, especially inside of this next year, because this activation with the ruler of Pisces in an opposition with the Lord of the Underworld will really kick off some of those ego topics, some of those shadow things that need to be worked on clearing. Jupiter in Leo wants you to become more heart-centered at the end of the day. And so there's going to be a little bit that needs to, for everyone, a little bit that needs to be kind of cleared out to help make space for that.
So have that compassion for yourself and those Pisces around you. I feel like Pisces can always use a little extra compassion. They're sensitive little babies.
Sensitive
little guys. Absolutely. So yeah, Pisces rising, suns, moons, let us know what you're feeling, what you're moving through, or what you're noticing for those Pisces around you. And definitely feel free to come back to this as you navigate these years. I'm planning on putting together a playlist for these. There'll be timestamps as well, so you can always return and check this out as you move through these energies. All right, Aries, you are up next.
Okay, Aries.
There you go.
Thank you. Time. All right, welcome in Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Thank you for being patient. You had to go third today. I'm sure you're very pissed off about that, but who fucking cares? I don't. So for an Aries rising, I got enough Mars. I'll throw it right back, y'all. For the Aries rising, we have this transiting Pluto is inside of your 11th house right now. So Pluto would have entered the 11th 2 years ago or so, 1.5 years ago. And we have Uranus, the real excitement and the real news of the recent months here, has just entered your 3rd house of communication and local environments. So we're going to work on talking about some of these trines and figure out what this means for Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Alrighty, so I definitely think with Pluto coming into the 11th house here, you've been on a journey recently, Aries, sun, moon, and rising, about dealing with different ideas and hopes and aspirations and wishes about that which you want to come true in this world. You would have gone through a much larger period of transformation around your career that would have happened, you know, through the 20-teens up until a couple of years ago, that really would have kind of shifted everything for you. And after all of that settled down, there's perhaps a new understanding of where you want to be going, or a new mission around what you want to be manifesting in this world. The 11th house is often associated with our friends, our allies, and those who are on mission with us. By the idea of primary motion, the things that are in the 11th house move into the 10th house over time. And so the things that happen here will ultimately play into what it means for career. But there's definitely going to be a shift and a change of that, where you're being asked to step into something that it's more authentic for you, Aries. So if there was a way that publicly you weren't always showing up exactly as who you were, and perhaps that created some anger or frustration, or that you weren't always, doing your own will kind of a thing here, this is a transit that's really going to help you to connect with the people in your lives that you need to connect with, to kind of reorient and allow yourself to enter new social scenes and circles that are best for you. These people will be on kind of the same mission and hold some of the same values as you. Now, of course, this period of time comes with a little bit of an understanding that the old vision must go so that there's room for the new vision. So this could include a period of dreams not coming true, dreams deferred, opportunities that just do not materialize. And as you see the graveyards pile up and the decaying and dying bodies around you, just make sure that you're kind of honoring that and turning away from that rather than forcing life into something that isn't working. And hopefully you'll be able to see with Uranus in the 3rd house that there's a lot of shifts happening in your localized environments. The 3rd house is known as the joy of the moon. And so it's definitely an area that's associated with our localized environments, the fish tank that we live in. So kind of all the people that are around us, the places that we go every day, the plants, the trees, the sun, the sky, and how all of that is affecting and influencing you. And with Uranus inside of your 3rd house, there's new people with new ideas really coming in. This is the more exciting part of it and a little bit more activating, where you might find yourself falling into conversation with somebody new that really changes what you think is ultimately possible to manifest in this world, to bring out and everything like that. And so it's a really great opportunity to, again, just be kind of shifting and reorienting here. There's a lot of changing patterns and habits, radical changes in your everyday environment and in your fish tank. Again, these will help you to align better with some of those new dreams and aspirations. So yeah, the everyday environment is where you're really going to start to see a lot of changes right now. And that will help to reorient you to go after some of those bigger visions that you might have and some of those new dreams that are coming in. And new challenges for you to kind of overcome. Aries can get bored if it doesn't have something that it's working hard for. And this is really giving a new intellectual lane to be moving into, a new mental and ideological space to be expanding into, and working with new groups of people to kind of create a new vision for your localized community. Some of the things that Aries might really be focused on is that localized community here and how you can bring progress and change close to home. This is not like going out and changing the entire world. It's very much the energy of working with your neighbors and changing the street that you live on or the block that you are a part of.
I love that. I feel like that's so much of what is needed is less of the macro and more of the micro that makes up the macro,
Yeah, Aries really kind of leads the charge in some of that too. I mean, there's a lot of like larger collective change that will need to happen, but I really see Aries as one of the like workhorses on the ground right now. Again, it's not like door knocking, but it's that energy of like that person just around the corner who like you connect with, and all of a sudden you have a new system for helping each other out on the street. I don't have an example here, but anyways.
Oh, I mean, I think about the ways that like neighborhood watches became such a thing
there
again. You know, it's like how do you decide how safe your neighborhood is, and how do you take charge of that? How do you you know, create that structure to make that possible, because it's not going to be a top-down sort of a thing. That's about you coming together.
Awesome. Thank you for the tag in. That's great.
You're welcome. All right, let's check the cards for Aries risings, suns, and moons. What would you like to say to these lovely folks? What is the energy for Aries?
I feel like we're an hour in. I'm just starting to settle in.
It takes a moment sometimes.
Yeah, I'm so crabby about this family thing.
And that is the beauty of I had a mentor and friend this week reminding me that the things that I'm going through are developing my grit. She just kept saying the word grit over and over. And I'm like, that's not a word that I use normally, but I really feel like there is some of that like grit that we are all fostering in our own ways as we like, I feel like struggle to make it through some of the challenges of this now moment with the people around us, with the systems, with all that. Anyway, Aries, back to you, Aries. So interesting cards here for you. Interesting energies for these years and this energy moving forward. So first off, 8 of Cups came up again for you. This is a journey. This is a process, and some of that process is about you personally, right? I mean, you in the foreground here, those people behind you, but you're the one forging the path here. And there might be a little bit of necessity in alone time, in carving out personal time for you to align yourself with what it is that you are bringing forward and what it is that you are bringing into being, because strength is next to it. And I think strength is really about, yes, your strength, whether that be physical, whether that be mental, whether that be emotional, but especially as we have that 8 of Cups on one side, 5 of Cups on the other, I really feel like this is emotions. This is emotional. And Aries, I feel like you probably have had those moments where your emotions have burned relationships or have burned some of those collaborations maybe. I know as someone with Aries in my chart, I have Venus in Aries. It can burn things. You can flare up and you can cause conflict. But that energy, when you use that strength that you have, when you use that power that you have, when you tap into your higher self and that support that you have on the spirit side, this really leads you to a 10 of Cups moment, an accomplishment, a beautiful union, right? And it's not to say that there isn't intensity through this process, right? 9 of Wands, there is an intensity. And whenever I see this card, I always get this image of like the devil's dancing on your shoulder, like the devil dancing on your back, you know, this idea of like something like taunting you and pressing you down. It's like you have to muster that strength to push through, and it really is going to lay this new foundation for you, open these new doors for collaboration, and really helping you to step into your gifts in a new way, into a mastery in a new way. And it might not be, you know, something as tangible as like electrician work or the job you do, or it might be a little bit more abstract than that, but there is this mastery here with this 3 of Pentacles and a new foundation that you're building.
I pulled Mars, which is the ruler of Aries. And so if we can go back to the chart real quickly, it would probably be insensitive to not mention the planets that are moving through your first house right now. So both Neptune and Saturn moving through Aries right now. And as this relates to Mars, the kind of the ruler of your ascendant, if you want to bring the chart up, Saturn and Neptune going through the first I feel like really relate to a lot of what Jake was talking about with his cards there. This dramatic kind of change in self. When Saturn goes over your ascendant, there is very much this message of no further than this. And there will absolutely be ways in which your character and your identity are challenged throughout the transits that are happening inside of Aries. And so looking at your Mars, looking at your Aries, looking at how you assert yourself, looking at the ways that you carry yourself inside of relationships. A reminder, Mars is about how we connect with others. It's just about how we create that line of division between us and the other. And there's something for Aries right now inside of its soul growth that if you are going to be able to work with these social air planets so much, right? Pluto and Aquarius inside of air, Uranus and Gemini inside of air, there is something about your character, about your North Star, about how you comport yourself that is under review right now. That review will help you to be part of community more. But like Aries, you've probably more than once run off on the mission and left others behind. And so this would be an opportunity to be figuring out how you can be bringing others with you on the mission at this time, Aries.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let us know what you're feeling, Aries, what you're moving through, or those of you who have Aries folks in your life, what you're noticing down in the comments, down in the chat. And I wanted to take a moment to say, hi, Ocean. Good to see you.
Oh, Grand
Glad you
Rising,
made it.
Ocean.
Grand Rising. Sending you all the love. And yes, feeling that gratitude. Grateful for you guys. All right, Aries, that's yours. And now we're on to Taurus. Taurus.
All righty, Taurus. Welcome, Taurus. Taurus sun, moons, and rising. This is your mini astrology and tarot reading for the trines that are happening between Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini, going on now through 2028, 2029. So this is a long one here. Very important for kind of the upgrades and changes in your life. And you know what, Taurus rising, you have a very exciting kind of configuration here. So as we pull up the chart, we'll see that Pluto is in your 10th house of career and recognition. And we have Uranus in your 2nd house of skills and resources. And so right off the bat, Taurus, this is a big time and change for the public you, for the professional you, and for all of the different ways and different like skills that you carry. This is really about how you're connecting with other people and how you are sharing some of the gifts that you have, because the gifts are growing and changing right now. And that leads to you showing up in new transformed public ways. So this is really exciting. As Pluto is in the 10th house, so again, the 10th house really about role, rank, file, skills, that kind of, well, not necessarily skills, but the mastery of skills. And so the first thing that I want to mention, while yes, a big shift and change in career is here for many of you Taurus risings. If you really, really love your career and it's super duper aligned, this could be reaching a new height inside of that career, right? Maybe there's been a glass ceiling that you are now breaking through and shattering through and stepping into more power, more prominence, more visibility inside of your career. That's very possible. A reminder, though, that not all of us work, and sometimes that this is related to the roles in which we carry inside of our social worlds, right? And so Taurus risings, you might notice that you are playing new and different roles and helping others to kind of understand things, to see a different picture of things, to help bring voice to marginalized or underrepresented groups of people. There's something about this that is asking you to be incorporating something that you've been developing inside of yourself, because the 2nd house where we have Uranus is very much about the tools and resources that we have to support us in this lifetime. And it's about using some of those skills and resources in new and different ways that might be more beneficial for different groups of people. You might have a new idea on how to solve, I don't want to say small problems, niche or specified problems that relate for certain groups. And of course, this starts to make sense when you think about your own life. With Uranus coming into the second house, this is a very activating period. I love to think about the second house as these things that support the first house or support your character, your identity. And so your time, your money, your resources, your assets, this all kind of falls into the second house. There could be, I mean, you're one of the couple signs here, earth signs. I'm a Capricorn rising. A lot of us earth signs have this like potentiality for a large shift in money or resources, but I don't want us to like glob on to the focus on money, because you really could be developing new skills at this time that that's what brings in the money, right? So focus on the skill rather than focusing on the money, or that skill supports and develops your self-esteem, another second house topic. And how does this blown up, greater, expanded sense of self-esteem allow you to step out into a more public role and kind of change how you are influencing outside of the home? So these really can be working kind of both directions here to assist Taurus rising in kind of this like level up that's going on. But yeah, a big boost for career in money, picking up new skills that might allow you to be more financially free or less dependent on others and less dependent on systems. I also think that, there's a way that relationships, because this is so socially oriented with all of these planets being inside of air signs, again, this could indicate somebody who helps you to learn about new skills, a new teacher, someone who helps you to sink deeper into self-esteem. There could be someone who's very different than you, right? Someone who has kind of like Uranus qualities. They might at times even make you feel a little uncomfortable. But working with this person, working with these people, working with these relationships is really that sign to the universe that like, yes, I am here. I'm ready for this kind of radical transformation, and really that which I'm cultivating in myself can help to kind of change some of these like societal structures, which I think is really cool. So Taurus, you really can be helping to lay the foundation of New Earth at this time as you step into your own gifts and then being empowered by those gifts and bringing that to the world to share. So I think that's kind of like the real message here for Taurus rising. You are coming into new gifts right now that you will be called to share with others. And that's really the change that the universe is looking for right now. And it's the growth that your soul came here for at this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Chart down here. All right, Taurus, what are the cards for you? What do the cards say for Taurus today? The energies and the insight and the guidance that they need. All right, Taurus risings, suns, and moons. Here are your cards. So we start out with a bit of contentious energy with the 10 of Swords, as well as the 5 of Wands. Contention is literally the word on the 5 of Wands. Destitution and contention. And the 10 of Swords and 5 of Wands, I feel like are indicating that what you are leaving behind, what you are letting go of as you, Hanged Man, suspension here, step into a new perspective on some of those mental patterns, some of those destructive habits, or perhaps those ways that you had conflict with others or had a challenge there. And ultimately, we have the Destiny card next. And this one, equilibration is the word that is on there. And I feel like it is an indication of the balance that you are seeking to establish over this period of time. And it really comes through a stepping into your sort of.
I got it.
Got you. Mics. The Emperor is indicating that grounded, focused, masculine energy that you're going to be bringing into this new version of you, this new way that you are moving through the world. And it really does, I think, have a lot to do with your interactions with those around you, but in a more of a physical way. This is maybe how you actually physically go out and support others, support your community, support your family, maybe supporting yourself too, because we talked about that career side of things as it could be. And we end up with the Nine of Pentacles here. Acquisition is the word. And so I feel like the story here for you, Taurus risings, suns, and moons, is one of that deep transformation. And it's helping you to leave behind some of that Ten of Swords, that Five of Wands energy, that way that you have struggled with maybe some mental energy or with moving through the world and the actions that you take. And stepping more into your power, using your gifts in a way that feels effortless, that feels very aligned, and it is pushing not only you but also those around you into this new paradigm. I mean, we're all a part of this, and we each have a part to play, and it's through those that we're able to help each other and create this new world that we're yearning for.
I had pulled the South Node for Taurus, and this really made me think about the upcoming nodal shifts that we have, where the South Node will be moving into Leo after being in Virgo for a while, and the North Node will be moving into Aquarius after being in Pisces for the last 18 months or so. And, that really is activating, if we go back to the chart, that will move into activations in 10 and 4. And where Pluto is right now for you. And so with this idea of the South Node, Taurus is a sign that is driven by comfort, right? By the creature comforts, by the pleasures of life. And there is a little bit of an ask to be stepping out of that comfort zone at this time. When the South Node moves into the 4th house and moves into home, the message of the sky is really to be letting go of some of the things that are happening there so that you can be growing and moving into a new kind of public image here. And so I just kind of want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the discomfort that Taurus sun, moon, and rising is being asked to kind of navigate through the first part here. Again, I think there will be something 2nd house related. You can be finding new ways to be supporting and nurturing and taking care of yourself, especially from like an emotional kind of a way. That can support you inside of doing this. It might come through talking and expressing the feelings and the emotions more. It might come through sharing that with somebody else. But there's definitely a little bit of a discomfort to be acknowledged here, as it will be quite a growing period for our Taurus sun, moons, and risings.
You see that with that Ten of Swords and Five of Wands energy as well, some of that discomfort. But transformation isn't always the most comfortable thing.
Well, and again, I mean, 2nd house is your self-esteem. And so there are definitely things that you can be doing to support yourself, new things that you can be doing to support yourself at this time. This isn't one of the signs that it should be though. For all the earth signs though, breath work, oh my gosh, breath work is like to be inviting and integrating some of this energy into you, right, Taurus? Think about some sort of like guided breathing or breath work or box breathing or whatever. This can be a really great way for you to be kind of, integrating and incorporating some of this. You are such a physical being. Getting in tune with the breath and creating a practice about this can really help to create some of that internal space that you might need to deal with some of the discomfort. And it could be a great skill that helps you at this time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Breathwork. Get into it, Taurus. Let us know down below in the comments what resonates for you, what you're maybe moving through at this time, and those things maybe that are working for you. Maybe if you have a favorite breathwork technique. All right, Geminis, you're up. Gems.
Geminis, we love you so much. You are definitely the gems of our lives. Hello, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your mini astrology and tarot reading for the upcoming trines between Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini. And this goes all the way until 2029. So stay tuned. Now, as we look at the chart here and we see these activations inside of the 9th house and the 1st house, whoa, oh my gosh, fireworks for you, Gemini. And you've been living this for a short period of time here as Uranus has been going through your 1st house, but this is one of the more exciting and activating places for some of these planets to be showing up. You know, when things fall into your 1st house, we are really talking about a radical transformation of self. Again, in traditional astrology, we know the 1st house as the helm or the rudder of your ship. And the ship itself, I mean, that's all the direction that you are being carried through this lifetime in your vessel, in your meat suit, in your body. These are all part of the 1st house, your character, the ways that you show up and how people perceive you. And this is going under a wild, crazy, mind-blowing transformation. You know, Uranus spending the next 7 months inside of your 1st house. This is just the most noticeable thing going on for sure. And this can really relate to how you understand you, how you deeply and authentically express who you are and your character. And again, seeing quite a few changes inside of the physical body are all part of the astrology at this time. With Pluto moving through the 9th, we think of the 9th as the joy of the sun. That is a house that's connected with our cosmic wisdom, the higher knowledge as it's related to our understanding here in life. It's like our own personal philosophy, our personal religion, our views on politics, science, all of the stuff, right? And when Pluto is going through your house of belief, you really are being asked to reassess and to change some of those core kind of dogmatic ideologies that you might be carrying or holding on to. These could have been things that you picked up when you were a child or stuff that's related to the structure that you grew up inside of. So, you know, for instance, like I went to a public school, there was a certain set of beliefs that came with that. Perhaps, you know, you grew up in a certain religious sect that created a certain set of beliefs that you are now following. This is really about a period of time of reviewing, reflecting, and kind of changing some of those and letting go of, again, some of the older ones that maybe aren't necessarily like helping you at this time. Well, how would you know if it wasn't helping you? Cold Saturn, cold Aquarius, this like mechanized, scientific, dehumanized kind of perspective could really point and indicate places where you've isolated yourself too far.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really this opportunity to kind of come back into the conversation, right? We're talking about a whole bunch of air signs here. And so this is about, again, how are you developing a new philosophy of life and a new philosophy of like even what it means to be human? It will be a long, deep, transformative kind of period of learning about spirit, morality, in a different kind of a way. And again, as you go through this, it works all kinds of ways, right? There can be new people and new experiences that cause you to have these new beliefs, or because you are seeking these new beliefs, you move into situations where there are new people and new experiences, and it kind of just all snowballs from there. Ultimately, as you have new ideas that you are processing in your mind, you're going to start showing up in a different kind of a way. You're going to be led by this new spirit, by this new belief, by this new dogma. And that, again, will start to come out in the choices that you make every single day, how you choose to present yourself even, right? I mean, even right now, I've chosen to present myself in a particular kind of a way based off of, certain ideals that I hold. For you, Gemini rising, you're really being invited, and you already kind of play with identity quite a bit, having that kind of mutable or changeable energy as it relates to like your physical appearance. I, know some Geminis who change their hair like once a season, right? And so this is really just asking for more of that play, more of that experimentation. And ultimately, the mask that you're going to be putting on in part of this is more authentic to you. It actually is probably something that runs a little bit deeper than surface. So yeah. Super duper cool here. I know that Tauruses, we were just on you. You just kind of had this energy going through your first. Maybe you can share about how some of the first house things really changed for you. And yeah. Again, can't think about the ninth house without the travel thing. So have your eat, pray, love experience and be completely transformed by it. But then just a reminder, like you come home with like your new silk linen robes and then you wear that wherever you go. And then people are like, whoa, look at that weirdo wearing linen. So anyways, that's you, Gemini.
Yeah. Lynn's niece, double Gemini, and sounds like she's definitely is true for her. Yeah. Geminis. Let's see what the cards have to say to you today. What's the guidance? What's the insight? What further information would the cards like to share with Gemini today regarding this transit and the energies moving forward for them? Thank you. All right. Alrighty, Geminis. Gemini rising, suns and moons. Cards coming up for you. We have the King of Pentacles up first. The Four of Pentacles. Then we have the 10 of Pentacles. It's interesting. The only suit we have here, we have a couple major arcana, and then we have Pentacles, and that's it for you. This King of Pentacles and this Four of Pentacles, I feel like you're shifting your motivations here. You're shifting how you handle your power, how you wield it in the world, and I think that you might have been playing your cards a little safe up until this point, or maybe there were ways that you kept parts of you hidden underneath some more performative parts. But I think you're coming into a period here where your relationships are starting to change, 10 of Pentacles, and you're shifting into more of alignment with the people around you in a way that makes you feel like you can express yourself in a more authentic way, maybe show up in a different way, physically. This could be like with your money, or how you work with abundance, or support those around you. I feel like there really is, though. We have, after that 10 of Pentacles, we have the moon come up. And I always see the moon as more of a death card than the death card, in that it's that deep transformation. It's that dark night of the soul. It's that like walking the gauntlet. And you might have some of that energy over these next couple of years. You might have these moments where Eight of Pentacles, you're looking around and you're saying, wait, what? Why is this working out for them? Or why is this chaos coming into my life? Or why can't I seem to hold it together like those around me? But ultimately, all of that is leading you to this devil energy, this realization that you're the one that holds the keys to your shackles, that you have the ability to change your perspective, to change your motivation, your and really like choose differently for yourself, that you have that power, and that ultimately, yes, there are, you know, people around you, there are systems that want to hold you down, want to put you back into that box, want to keep you the way that you were, but you're realizing through this transformation that you have all of the tools that you need, and in a very physical, very tangible way to facilitate this transformation, this shift, this change.
Yeah. I had pulled the 7th house, which like ditto everything that you were saying around relationships. But I think the perspective that I want to bring in here too, can you pull up the wheel again? The 7th house contains the descendant, which is opposite the ascendant. And when planets cross the descendant every single day, they move below the horizon into the underworld. And so there's a big association with the 7th house and things ending, because they would no longer be visible in the sky. They would move below into the underworld. So they wouldn't be in the heavens. They'd cross through the 7th and they would disappear. And so there's this idea of endings. And so I think some of the stuff that's required for some of this transformation of self, just as Jake was saying, there'll be a lot of it that's mirrored or reflected inside of the relationships that you are having at this time. You know, Gemini, you don't need to find yourself in relationships with those just to be their foil. Perhaps be focusing on where you can be a mirror rather than a foil, and you could be aligning yourself with the right groups of folks at the end of the day.
I love it. Ken letting us know that resonated with him. So other Geminis, let us know how that resonates, what you've been moving through. If there's anything that you're ready to let go of, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And remember to share all of this with those other signs that you have in your life. If a message you're like, oh, this person needs to hear that, share it out. Share this video. All right, we're taking a brief break.
Programming,
brief break here from the wheel, because I want to remind you guys, Atlantis is calling. Atlantis is calling. The little tagline down there, I always love it because it made me laugh when I came up with it. You've heard of the fall, now remember the good times. I designed this workshop, which is coming up on August 1st, 3 to 6 p.m. So this is going to be a 3-hour workshop. It's going to be about twice as long as I normally do, because we will be going on multiple guided meditation journeys. And this workshop is designed to help you connect with your past lives in Atlantis, and to get a little bit deeper than just the fall, just the cataclysm at the end, just the trauma that many of us have carried from that period of time. This is about tapping back into those positive, uplifting, energizing lifetimes that contain information about your gifts, about the ways that you worked with those around you to create that golden age that Atlantis is often called. And we're doing that to usher in that in a new way, in a more tangible way in this lifetime. And so I really felt called to bring us back to Atlantis, to tap into those lifetimes, those memories that we need to remember for now.
I pulled a card for Jake's workshop.
Oh yeah.
And I got conjunction, which reminds me that we did plan this because of the astrological conjunctions that are happening right now with Uranus, Mars, and Atlantis all at the beginning degrees of Gemini. So I love that the word here is alliance, because we are working together to have a very activating transformational kind of breakthrough experience here in reconnecting with this golden timeline, all this beautiful gold inside of the image here too. So yeah, just a
and aligning ourselves with those past life versions of us, right? The work that we do lifetime after lifetime doesn't go to waste. It doesn't just disappear into the ether. It's a part of our soul's memory. It's encoded in our DNA, as many people have found. And part of that act of remembering your past lives is reactivating that soul memory. So it's going to be a powerful time. It's going to be a really fun workshop. If you, for some reason, can't make it live, still get a ticket. You can watch the replay and join us through the quantum. But I do definitely recommend joining live. Like we were talking about, that group alignment. People talk about this all the time when they're in that group meditation. It does have a different feel than when you're doing it one-on-one. So encourage you guys to grab a ticket, link down below, and I'll pop it in the chat as well. All right. Back
to regular scheduled programming. Hello, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. These are your mini astrology and tarot readings for the trines that are happening between Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini that are going on now until 2028, 2029. So stay tuned for this one. Cancer risings. So on the wheel here, we have Pluto in the 8th and Uranus in the 12th. This is a very auspicious placement for Cancer risings and might be the most difficult that we have for anybody. So big hug right off of the bat. However, these two planets are configured to each other through a trine, so it's not that bad. But let me explain a little bit more. In traditional astrology, we have good houses and we have bad houses. We have things where generally positive things happen and things where generally negative things happen. And 8 and 12 are often seen as more difficult here. And so, yeah, we don't need to get technical about what's worst, but if you have things in 12, 6, 8, and 2, that's definitely a reason to come talk to an astrologer about what's going on. But like I said, because these are configured in a trine, which was one of the most harmonious aspect patterns, we can kind of imagine here that, like, while the conditions might be difficult, the outcomes will generally be positive. So while you might be faced with hardship and adversity, or while you may be faced with a challenge, the outcome to it will often be better than what you would have thought. You can kind of come out maybe with less scratches or wounds than you would have anticipated. And it ultimately says that, like, what is unfolding here is truly for your best and highest good. Trines are positive things that generally make our lives easier and flow more appropriately in the right direction. So you're not like fucked right off the bat here by seeing some of this stuff in 12 and 8, but we will have to kind of talk about how do we work through it. So the 8th house, where we have Pluto coming in right now, or Pluto has just started entering the last couple of years. I like to think of the 8th house as this place of other people's esteem. It's a place where we exchange energy and resources with other people based off of what their opinions are about us, based off of how they value you. If you were here earlier, we were talking about the 2nd house being about how we value ourselves. The 8th house is really about how others value us. And if they really value us a lot, they give us great things. And if they don't value us that well, they give us some shit that we have to deal with too. So the 8th house definitely has this idea of these like karmic debts or karmic penalties or karmic taxations, and yeah, and you'll be working with those kind of good and bad. Now, Pluto, again, a reminder that Pluto has like meanings around riches, around money, around, and it's not just material riches. Well, and it's generally material riches, but it could be more mental in this, in an air sign like Aquarius here. But it very well could be a period where people are coming in and they are giving you good things, right? You are reaping the rewards of some of the karma that you have incurred in some of your lifetime. This is really going to be different and individual for all cancers here, kind of based off of what's going on in your life and the karma that you've kind of set up to transmute in this sort of lifetime. It's not all bad though, right? Like I think of one of my friends who has the ruler of their ascendant inside of the 8th house. 8th house can be about, you know, what we get from other people. They recently had a parent pass and inherited like a wild amount of money, right? And so that kind of thing happens in the 8th house too. But it also might go to say that the relationship that you hold as it relates to other people's stuff, perhaps maybe you've become too dependent on other people's esteem, other people's money, other people's assets and resources. This could be a period of freeing and liberating you from some of the bonds that tie you to others into a place of more independence or more autonomy for you. Cancer rising, you might be noticing, on the flip side, you might be more ingrained in helping and assisting others and working through some of their kind of karma. It's really interesting though, the stuff that comes into the 8th house, it like doesn't have like this permanence to it. And so how you manage and deal with, say winning the lottery or getting an inheritance, that kind of thing runs out. And so there's always this kind of cautionary tale to be kind of wise on how you manage other people's resources and making sure that you're doing that in the most beneficial kind of a way. Otherwise, you're going to incur more karmic debts that are going to pop up here, right? Now, with Uranus in the 12th house, there's the caller that asks for a revolution of the mind, of the mental faculties, of the ways in which we take care of the mental aspects of our world. Cancer, you are so emotionally intelligent, right? I mean, you're Cancer. You're very lunar. You have the moon. Like that's you to a T. Uranus inside of the 12th, inside of an air sign, might be asking you to be letting go, letting the emotional intelligence step back, right? Because there is more of this objectivity or more of this rational thinking that is going to help you and to guide you perhaps even through some of these emotional experiences as you are working through the karma of other people's possessions, debts, your own. It might mean that you need to take the emotion out of some of the immediate situations that are coming up for soul growth and to be able to only analyze those through like a very logical sort of mindset. And so for Cancer, you're really being asked to move kind of out of that stomach central cavity where you have a lot of stomach and chest, where you have like a lot of this going on, and bringing it up here a little bit and then kind of filtering it back down. The mind really can assist you. I know that you are so kind of attached to the emotions here, but this really speaks to like a different place of internal knowing that can come from getting in tune with yourself, and not necessarily getting in tune with the emotions, but getting in tune with the thoughts. So yeah, it's really important for Cancer, especially in this first couple years of this, to be making sure that you are creating that quiet, alone space that is associated with the 12th house. The 12th house is often about removing ourselves from everyday life, from me taking a break from hanging out with Jake to like go on my own and think and process. Journaling could be very, very helpful for Cancers to kind of move throughout this, and for a way to kind of get that emotion out of you and maybe get it onto the paper, and so that it isn't kind of bogging you down anymore. But definitely meet the universe halfway by creating that space to work through some of these mental aspects. And that will really help to manifest the growth and the change that you are being asked to go through at this time. So it's all about adding intellectual intelligence to that emotional intelligence and using that in the ways in which you're interacting with others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, Cancers, let's see. The cards are already coming out for you. So let's see what is that message from the cards, from our higher selves, from spirit around on this energy. All right. Don't mind my little chuckles here.
Chuckling is very Cancerian.
All right, Cancer. So Cancer, rising, suns, and moons. Here is your card. So we start out with the Hermit. So,
and we both laugh.
Yeah. I mean, it flew out as you were finishing talking. I said, yes, that is the first card, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that is the foundation that is going to help you in your relationships, in the community, in the ways that you interact with those around you. Because we have the Hermit, and then we have the Six of Pentacles. Notice the two figures. The Four of Wands. Notice the two figures.
Mm-hmm.
And the Six of Cups. Notice the two figures. It's just funny, the energies of these three cards are very different, and yet work together very harmoniously to speak to those partnerships. And I think that some of the work that you'll do on your own in solitude is going to help you to rebalance some of those relationships that maybe are, causing that emotional distress or that emotional pattern that you're ready to move out of. Help you move into more harmony and union in more beautiful ways. Four of Wands in the traditional tarot has the sort of wedding canopy. I always see it as a wedding canopy up above the figures, and there's this stepping back into union in a more balanced way. And we have delight, and then we have felicity, so intense happiness. Like, this really is going to help you with fostering more of those positive emotions, helping you to have that those like emotional reactions, those emotional feelings that are more positive for you. But this really does demand, and we have the moon coming up for you, Cancer. Of course we do, because as you know, the emotions can be like that gauntlet. It can be, I'm seeing like the crystal ball there. You might have this image of what this could be for you. You might get a glimpse of that future, and yet there is some of that deep transformation that needs to occur in order for you to actually get there. Don't worry, you're gonna get there. The King of Wands is our last card. Stepping into that empowered, activated, charged up you. And you might not recognize that you might not have that energy show up very often, but this is about stepping into a new level of your soul's energy coming through. I love that we're seeing a lot of that with these cards. We're seeing for a lot of signs this new level of soul light coming in, this new level of like soul embodiment, and I see that for you too, Cancer.
Cancer, I had pulled the IC for you, so this is the most internal place in the chart. Yeah, right. And again, I think, the IC is things crossing over the IC really speaks for profound internal, personal, deep transformation. There's a lot of like connotations that are similar to the IC in the 8th house. And I just feel like, I feel like it's a really deep transformational process here for Cancers.
Mm-hmm. And as a Pisces who deals with my own emotions in my own way, but I know the Cancers. I mean, I'm married to a pretty Cancerian person, and I feel like the emotions can be hard to move through or shift or change or look at differently when you're face to face with that person, right? It's usually when you step back and you have that alone time where you can have that different perspective. Your higher self can come through and give you a nuanced perspective. So
I'm
good advice for all of us too.
Well, and I'm thinking right now in the ways in which like emotions generally serve as triggers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or emotions are triggered or whatever. And the other air sign is in your fourth house here. So like 4, 8, and 12 is what's being activated by the air signs. And so this triggering of emotion can be really kind of kicking off, creating a new foundation, your fourth house, your IC, the bottom of the chart. There's really something about creating a new foundation that doesn't come from quite as much of emotional reactions, but maybe coming from a place of more grounded. And again, it's not being cold or like just like data driven, but it is perhaps being a little bit more matter of factly about things rather than being so emotional about things. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's recognizing the benefit of a more balanced, measured approach, because it's not that the emotions are invalid, but yeah. Anyway, Leo, it's your turn. Cancers, let us know down below how things are going for you, what resonated, what didn't. Maybe you're already feeling that retreat. But Leos, let's see what's in the stars and the cards for you.
All righty. Hello, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Welcome to your mini astrology and tarot readings for the trines between Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini, which are going on now through 2028, 2029. We have the wheel pulled up here. And as you can see, Pluto is in your 7th house here. So has recently entered the 7th house of relationships. And Uranus is over in Gemini in the 11th house here of hopes, dreams, aspirations, and the folks who help you to make those come real. And, you know, just right away, when we have something in an angular house, 1, 4, 7, or 10, I always want to start with that because that's going to be one of the bigger, more clear, loud energies inside of the chart as everything is unfolding. And let's not forget, Leo, that you do have Jupiter coming through your 1st house, at least for the next year of 2026, even though these transits continue until 2029. But as Pluto is entering your 7th house, the Lord of the underworld is really coming into this area to create a tremendous shift in the relationships in your life. Now, the 7th house isn't just about relationships. The 7th house connects us, and especially from more of a traditional standpoint, connects us with pleasure, with bliss, with sex, and with endings too. Earlier, if you're listening to all of these, I had talked about how when planets cross the descendant, which is contained inside of the 7th house, when people cross this line of the horizon and move below it, they're no longer visible in the sky, which is above, and they are below the earth. You know, every day the sun moves across here and sets in the 7th house. And so there is a very strong indication of things happening in the 7th house, not only being associated with relationships, but also being associated with endings. And again, I had mentioned sex. You think about that union that happens as something was separate from the ground and then it comes into the ground, it penetrates the ground. Here's a little bit of that like symbolic reason why we have sex showing up in the 7th house, at least from a traditional standpoint. Now, again, planets clear, they cross over the descendant, completions, endings, the end of day, nighttime, that kind of a thing. And so Pluto could be bringing in some very powerful, big major endings into your life at this time. Now, of course, it could be relating first and foremost to relationships, the relationships that you might find yourself in, whether they are romantic or whether they are work or platonic. This very well could indicate one of those big key relationships in your life, something going awry with that, and perhaps seeing some endings there. Well, Pluto just doesn't clear things out to leave barren grass, right? I mean, there's always the barren field. There's always the death and the rebirth. So you would also then be expecting new folks to be coming in that are more uniquely aligned with the true identity of yourself. And maybe perhaps even finding relationships that are more pleasurable, more rewarding, feel more good to you after a period of perhaps kind of clearing out some folks that just maybe don't really align anymore. So a large death and rebirth as related to relationships as it's kicking off this next chapter of life. It's definitely like this double whammy, having Pluto inside of the seventh, knowing that the seventh can be about endings to begin with. Now, again, the universe is very supportive, right? And if you're doing the work to be clearing in the seventh, well, what is coming in? What's coming in is coming in the 11th. And that's really exciting because the 11th house could indicate that once you've kind of cleared ground in this area, some of the new folks who are coming in are going to be aligned with you. The 11th house is really about our friends, benefactors, allies. I think of us as YouTubers, our subscribers, the people that support us in bringing the vision that we hold about what we want in the world, people supporting us and making that real. The 11th house is about, your groups, your allies, the people. And so if you've gone through kind of a bit of a karmic clearing, or even maybe perhaps when these planets were at the end of Earth sign. So when Pluto was in Capricorn and when Uranus was in Taurus in late 2024, you might have started that clearing out process even a few years ago, and it could have happened first inside of the aspect of work, right? 6 and 10 being very career and work oriented places. And some of the shifts that may have happened there or that you may be undergoing are really creating new social opportunities for you to be meeting and making connections with folks who are more aligned with kind of this new vision of what you want to be bringing into the world at this time. Uranus can be giving you new ideas about what it means to be here, and to new ideas in which you want to share with others. And so, yeah, if you kind of go through that more difficult work with Pluto, the universe is going to respond by bringing in a whole new group of people that is going to light you up and give you new ideas about what you're able to accomplish inside of this world. It's almost around creating a new vision around what gifts you can provide. If we think about like the archetype of Prometheus associated with Uranus, and giving the fire of the gods to the people so that we can have fire, this new technology. There's a gift that you're being asked to start providing, not only inside of relationships, but to larger social contexts, and then ultimately to the world as a result of some of the transits that are going on here, Leo rising. And so the ways that you are, especially with Jupiter coming through your first, the ways that you are kind of being called into the center of the stage in a new way, right? Even more so than before, really is to help orient all of us to align into some of our social groups, and to help us kind of partner with some of the best people. So you'll really be seeing a lot of shifts in the external world around you, and hopefully finding a lot more joy and pleasure inside of the relationships that you choose to bring into a much deeper kind of a place.
I love it. I love it. I just think about that Xena episode when they had to save Prometheus. It's a good episode. All right, let us check into the cards and see what is the insight and guidance, further information for the Leos? Leos rising, suns and moons. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. All right. All right, Leos. So, Leo, we start out with the 9 of Cups for you. Satiety. Satiety? I don't know if I've ever said that word out loud. 9 of Cups, though. 9 of Cups and then 3 of Wands. We have the Hanged Man or Suspension, which keeps coming up. The Wheel of Fortune. And the 6 of Wands. So the story here for you, Leos, in this journey, in this transformation, in this shakeup, you're leaving behind some of those things, those situations, those peoples that wore you out, that tired you out, that you didn't necessarily have the drive, the motivation, the push to like participate in fully. You might have been there, but you weren't there fully in, in all of your energy. And this 3 of Wands, I feel like is it's like you're taking a moment to incubate that new you, that new fledgling, that egg, right? There's this big old egg being roasted here. And cohesion is the word on there. I feel like this involves sort of like a reorienting of these parts of you, and these pieces of your personality, of your being, your energy, that you're being called to look at differently, to take a different perspective in, to sort of flip the script on, and it's really going to shift and change your outlook, your perspective, and that shift is going to continue happening over the next couple of years. Like you might have multiple waves of this transformation happening for you, and this is absolutely aligned with your soul and the direction that your higher self is calling you to. And it really is such a positive energy. It's such a, I mean, we have the Phoenix rising on the banner here, and triumph is our word. You have, the final card here is such a positive one for you, and really speaks to, I think, the power that's going to come from this transformation for you, the expansion, the growth, and you're going to shine in a new way, in a brighter way even, which you might say, in a brighter way, I already shine really bright. I'm a Leo.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo. I already shine. Well, don't worry. It's going to be like a next level, a leveling up. And it's funny that we end on this card, because I'm reminded again, it's like bringing in more of your soul's energy. I think that's a big theme of this energy, which I think we've talked about. Like Uranus can be associated with higher self, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's this energy is facilitating for lots of us new levels of soul energy coming in, new levels of expressing our higher self in a new way. And you're going to like this, Leo. You're going to like this. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel aligned for you, and people are going to notice.
I pulled Aquarius, so hey, gotta love that. The hidden opposite of Leo.
There you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the first thing that I'm thinking about here, so Leo Sun Moon rising, you should really kind of watch that degree point of your Sun Moon or rising, because when Pluto is opposite, okay, it's kind of like the biggest moment here, for this rebirth of identity of self to be coming out at that time, and making sure that you are incorporating this new version and this new vision of you as it relates to how you're showing up in relationships and the groups that you are working with. So there will be a kind of like a profound change in that the quality of light, as Jake was kind of saying, you'll be shining brighter. And I think a big way to be understanding when you're ready for that will really be related to as Pluto is coming across the descendant. So check to see what degree that's at, or come chat with me about it, and we can talk about when the universe will be kind of calling you on stage under a new spotlight.
Be ready to hit that mark. All right, Leos, hope you enjoyed your reading. Let us know what resonated. If you are seeing the signs of any of this bubbling already, as you probably are.
And enjoy Jupiter in the first.
Enjoy.
You know, I mean, it's a really positive aspect for you.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that we got that triumph card there for you, for sure. All right, Leos, enjoy. Virgos, it's your turn. Hi, Virgos.
Hey,
Hello.
Virgos, sun, moon, and rising. How's it going? We're here with your little mini astrology and tarot readings for the upcoming trines between Pluto and Uranus, and Pluto in Uranus, Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus.
You say it enough times.
Do I say it all the time? I probably do.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, you've said the same phrase multiple times in the retrograde.
Yeah. I have my little note here for all the earth signs. I really just want to call this out before we get in the need and desire for breath work at this time. You are such a physical 3D kind of creature, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. And the ways that the outer planets have shifted recently out of the earth and water signs and into the air and fire signs really kind of resonates all the way deep down into our cores. And so you're some of the people who are most affected by some of these shifts. And anyways, breath work. I just started doing it for myself. I'm a Capricorn rising. This has been such a huge game changer for kind of like daily levelness. And I feel like this is a really great tool for all earth signs at this time, particularly just because the air signs fall in 2, 6, and 10 for all of us. And so it can talk about our skills and our daily routines. And Virgo, you're already great with your daily routines, but with Pluto inside of your 6th house, you are being asked to kind of change your realm of health habit and routine. But we're actually going to talk about Uranus in the 10th first, because that is a little bit more significant here. So if we want to go ahead and pull up the chart, we have Uranus transiting through your 10th house, which is the big headline news here. Anytime that something's in an angular house, it's going to be the loudest thing that's going on inside of the chart. So this is a very exciting, innovating, game-changing, breaking through, hitting new heights, shaking it up moment for your career or for your public self. This is really a big sign for a change in career, change in job, change around the office, that sort of a thing. And really making sure that you are kind of breaking out of any old personal molds that you might have carried, or any ideological glass ceilings that you might have been bumping up against, or beliefs that held you back from going any further. The 10th house is often also related to just kind of like our public image. So with Uranus kind of coming into this area, there's a new aspect of you to be incorporating into that which you are sharing with others. There's a more kind of kooky, eccentric, out of the box part of you that you're being asked to bring into the world and share at this time. And just a reminder, Virgo, it's okay if that person isn't like clearly defined, or you don't feel super comfortable being them quite yet. It's okay. You'll grow into this. Doesn't have to be perfect right away, but you're here to kind of bring in this new energy, Virgo, rather than being buttoned up. Your hair might be a little frazzled because you're lit up by these new ideas and this kind of more counter culture, rebellious energy, or at least something that is just showing off a different aspect of you, right? With Pluto in the sixth, we often talk about the sixth as the joy of Mars. Modern, we talk about health habits and routines. When I think about the joy of Mars, though, Mars is really about where we have to work hard, where we have to persevere, and at times where we have to sacrifice. And the sixth house often has this association with what do we have to work hard and sacrifice for so that we can make it happen. And with Pluto coming into the sixth house, there is quite a bit of a cosmic call or universal ask to be reassessing the different things that we are willing to sacrifice ourselves for. This could very well be something that we ideologically sacrifice ourselves for, since Aquarius is a air sign. It could be these ideals that we take up, the charge and the mission for, that we fight for, those sorts of things. And Pluto's asking us for, to make sure that we're working for the right thing that we want to be working for, and more than likely changing the mission that we're on and finding a new cause to be supporting and working hard and giving our blood, sweat, and tears for that. So there's really something here about like getting ready for a new kind of training as it relates to life, and new practice as it relates to this hard work that you'll be asked to kind of bring forward. Now, again, 6 and 10, they definitely, can be about this new daily practice that you have that grows into like a larger career sort of thing. Or it very well could be aspects changing inside of your career, large shifts that mean that the daily tasks and the routines that you take every day are shifting as well. If you're coming from work environments or places that don't have, that need technological upgrades or need to get up to speed with where we are in the world right now, you'll very much find your role or job shifting at this time to be bringing that in. I have a little bit of this going on for me that I've been talking about in the ways that my work has been incredibly digitized, and I'm getting all kinds of new tools and technical solutions to make my stuff go smoother and faster. I see this very aligned for Virgo as well too. We're working with the same elemental configuration here. So again, sacrifice, especially around an ideal or an ideology, can lead to greater reward, recognition, and achievement inside of a career. There's a very strong aspect between the two of these, making sure that they are working for the best and highest good of you at this time.
I love it. I love it. All right, Virgos, risings, suns and moons. The cards are already jumping. What are the energies, insights, guidance for these folks as they navigate this energy? Thank you. All right, Virgo. Virgo. Your cards. We start out with the Devil, the Emperor, Six of Pentacles. And I feel like this Devil came out and I immediately was like, yeah, don't build yourself a prison here. Sometimes we can create situations, experiences. We can put ourselves into a box. We can shackle ourselves up because we think that that's what we need to do. That's what we're supposed to do. I feel like I'm noticing like the little goat up there in the top corner. It's like that Capricornian energy that sometimes, as Corbin's talked about, you climb the wrong mountain. You climb a mountain for the wrong person. And I think the Emperor is here really reminding you that this is about you. This is about your divine energy. It's about your grounded and really like stable ways that you are shifting and changing to create more of that. We have the Six of Pentacles next as well, and that compensation. I feel like this really is about for you those shifts that will help you to step more into maybe some of that material wealth that you're looking for, that success, that rebalancing between you and some of those other people in your lives, maybe between you and the job, you and the career. I think there is a message here for you as well with this Hermit card that came up next to make sure you're carving out time for you to know what is right for you and what's not. Which part of this transformation is yours and what is someone else's maybe. And after the Hermit, we end up with the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands. And I feel like this really is about like a new energetic start. This is about a new journey. And the Page and the Knight, it's not the Queen and the King. You might not have all the pieces figured out, like Corbin was talking about, that new version of you. You might not have it totally fleshed out. You might not be comfortable expressing it quite yet, but it's about doing it anyway. That Page says, step out on that journey. You might not see clearly. The ways ahead. There might be some hot coals to walk over. There might be some of those challenges in your way. But I think there's a key here for you. This Knight of Wands is dishing his chest plate. I feel like there's a need here and a reminder from your higher self to keep your heart open, and make sure that you're not getting too stuck in the mental, that you are balancing that out with the heart. And again, like paying attention to what works for you and what doesn't. What is your body telling you? And how does that impact the choices that you're making?
I pulled Jupiter for Virgo here. And I think we've really talked about how this is quite a bit of work and toil and sacrifice. And I think the Jupiter is just showing up to say that it's not all for nothing, right? And at this time, Jupiter is moving through your 12th house. And there can really be a lot of new benefits in how you you get a different and a new perspective on everything. And so perhaps you're understanding that the work is valuable and worth it, and that the sacrifices will lead to something better and greater for everyone. Just make sure that it's the correct ideology or the correct thing that you're following here, because there is quite a bit of an assessment of like, yes, is that really where I want to hedge my bets? Is this the religion, the dogma, the ideology that I want to be promoting on a much larger scale? If you line that up right, then there's a lot of happiness and abundance on the other side of that.
Well, there you go, Virgos. Let us know what's been coming up for you, what you're feeling, what resonates, and as you move through this.
And when things get difficult, when there's too much work to do, take 5 minutes to do the breath work. It will make the rest of your day a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Virgos, good luck to you. Libras, you're up next. That's me too, Libra rising.
All righty. Yeah. Hello, Libra rising. Shout out Libra sun, moon, and rising. This is your mini astrology and tarot readings for the upcoming transits, the trines between Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. That's going on right now all the way until 2028, 2029. So this is a big energy that's in play for the next couple of years, helping to transform you into the next version of you. And so for Libra risings, we have the other two air signs fall inside of your 5th and inside of your 9th house. Thanks for pulling up the wheel, Jake. And this is really exciting stuff as it relates to your vision of the world, your understanding of how it all gets put together, and how you're expressing that and sharing that vision of the world and how the puzzle pieces kind of come together. Admittedly, yes, Jake is a Libra rising, and we spent quite a bit of time talking about this one at home. And one of the things that I want to remind everyone, if you're just checking out for your sun, moon, or rising and not listening to the whole thing, is that these trines actually started at the end of 2024 when Pluto was at the end of Capricorn and Uranus was at the end of Taurus. And there might have been some really big shifts in your life during that time that has kind of set you up for this next chapter. Do you want to just share?
Sure. What specifically? Like about my job and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, 2024, 2025, I left my corporate job at Caribou managing coffee shops and put my energy into becoming a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist. And I had started that journey in 2023, but 2024, I took a big jump and quit that corporate job, started really building in a new way. And that was definitely a huge transformation and shift in my belief systems, my belief in self, my belief in the world, my understandings, and my faith in how it all works, as Corbin said. And that started through kind of my daily life completely changed, my patterns and routines and the people that I worked with and all of that. I mean, it was quite a big shift.
So when Jake mentions that, I really hear this Uranus in the 9th, which did start last summer, retrograde and came back. And when Uranus enters your 9th house, your area of your own kind of personal religion or philosophy, the Great Awakener is really asking you to have a radical change as it relates to some of the ideologies that you carry you through this world. It also speaks to new kind of Uranian or eccentric or out there teachers or guides who can help disseminate this information to you, but also energize you and kind of wake you up in a new kind of a way as you are taking in some of these new philosophies and ideas. Again, this is also paired with experiences too. I always think about the 9th house as, that quintessential going off to college, having this experience and being changed and learning and growing through it, or an eat, pray, love kind of a thing. And so you'll be Libra risings, you'll be having these really activating experiences that allow you to let go and shed perhaps some dogmatic ideas or upbringings that you may have had, and really might be sparking a spiritual revolution of sorts, or a political revolution for you. Maybe you change political affiliations if that's what you're into. With Venus with Pluto in the 5th, because this is also known as Venus's house or the joy of Venus. Pluto's really coming in to activate the essence of your creative self and to push you into finding more creative fulfillment in life through expressing who you really are, through expressing the values that are really important to you and becoming a vessel of embodiment for that. Being ourselves so much that it is just radiating out of us, so that whatever we're doing is really showing people what we're all about and what we stand for. So of course it relates to some of our hobbies and our play, and even the children and how we raise them to be reflections of the light that we want to be shining. But it's really all about how are you bringing in more of your essence into that which you are sharing with the world, aligned with the more true vision of what you believe, getting rid of some of that programming a little bit here, right? And so this could really be huge for Libra risings, considering that Libra more often than not is thinking about the other person and how that other person is making these kind of judgments or perception of self. You at times, Libra rising, could be putting what you think is pleasurable or right for you, perhaps second to what is pleasurable to somebody else. And this is just really asking you to rewrite quite a bit of your identity. You know, even though Libra is focused on the other person, it is a masculine sign that exerts. And so it's, who am I in relation to the other person? Not who does the other person expect me to be, and then I will be that person. It's, oh, I understand this other person from that sort of a lens, and so I can present like this. And it's really kind of creating a new way of presentation for Libra rising here. So this really moves beyond kind of the fun and games that can be inside of the 5th house. And to me, really speaks to a personal renaissance for Libra risings in the way in which that they are kind of more truly showing up in the world and here to kind of carry out the roles that they have. So yes, from Jake to go from this social, hi, how are ya? Here's your cup of good to, hey, here's the wisdom of the world and some like deep healing and trance and hypnosis.
Even you think about like the way a general manager of a store shows up versus a hypnotherapist in a one-on-one client session. I mean, the ways that I interacted with others completely shifted and changed.
Yeah, and so being letting go of some of that external validation a little bit and understanding that it's your job to create the beauty to express inside of the world, and then connecting that with others. Let's pull the cards.
Yeah, like Watkins was saying 2024 fiance had a near-death experience that changed his life.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Definitely do it. Yeah. All right, let's see. What are those cards for Libra risings, suns, and moons?
And I'm sure that would have changed the path to, I mean, they could still be kind of on the same thing that led to that moment, but I have to imagine that things have shifted, so they're probably not exposed to the situations like that anymore.
I really love doing these group polls and like working our way around the wheel because we see similar energy showing up in the cards over and over again. It's really fun.
We're so deep in where I feel like I'm saying the same thing, but go ahead.
Oh, I do too. But it's okay. I mean, we're
I've
in the
said
channel
transformation 1,000 times,
a million
today.
Times. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Libras, rising suns and moons. We've got Queen of Swords up first. We have the Wheel of Fortune coming up next. We have Suspension, that Hanged Man once more, followed by the 8 of Cups once more. The Destiny card came out again. And then we have the Magician. So definitely some pretty powerful energies here for you, Libra, rising suns and moons. That Queen of Swords is really, I feel like, about the ways that we Libras use our communication or don't use our communication, right? There can be these ways that we...
I have 3rd house, so yeah, I'm going there too.
Yeah, the communication. And I feel like we are being called to shift and change that for our best and highest good, that some of the ways that we might have communicated and wielded our words, wielded our thoughts, our beliefs even, and how we shared those with the world, it might have not been as true to what we actually feel, think, or believe. But there's really this shift and this turning that we're being called to do. And this Hanged Man, it's doubling down on that change of perspective, that transformation in how you're looking at situations, how you're looking at people. I mean, the Hanged Man, this one, especially Suspension, I feel like has very Plutonian energy with the depths going down into the darkness, to facilitate that shift and that change. And unfortunately for me and all of those Libras out there, this might take a little bit longer than you want. This 8 of Cups comes out again, signifying that maybe longer journey that you might be taking. There might also be these periods where you feel this separation from the group, where you feel that like there's this distance, and you're not sure exactly how to overcome it. It's not that you want it. It's not that you created it deliberately. But don't worry, the balance, the equilibrium is coming back. This Destiny card, I feel like, is really reminding you that your soul has a plan for this all. Your soul has a plan for this period of time. When you chose your birth chart, when you chose your birthday, you chose those energies that you were going to move through in this lifetime. And it might feel like chaos. It might feel like, wait, what the fuck? I didn't sign up for this. I don't want this. You did, especially with this Magician card. And I feel like that's really the culmination of this story for us, Libras, is we are stepping more into our power of manifestation, our power of creation, and creating the world, doing our part to create this new world that we're all yearning for, because we have a really, really key piece to play in this, because Libras, you're the middleman. You are the one that can bridge the gap between disparate groups. I think about in high school how I was friends with literally everyone, like every group of friends. I was friends with the band kids, the cheerleaders, all of those like stereotypical archetypal groups. I could bounce between them all, and I found a way to fit in, and people liked me. And you might, as a Libra, have that similar gift and trait. And I think as we move out of some of this separation and into more unity, we're needed. Those gifts are needed.
Mm-hmm. So I had pulled third house communication for Libra, and I want to give just a similar but slightly different message here. Libra, again, being so kind of externally focused, I think this advice is coming up. Third house and communication is coming up because of the changing ideas, belief structures, understandings of the world and everything. The way that is really changing you internally, and it might be in like kind of challenging and shocking kind of ways. You are being asked to kind of talk through this. These things might not be the first things that you're comfortable enough to share with somebody else, because you might be judged for your changing of perception, or that you don't believe what you used to believe, especially amongst your social groups where you do communicate and share ideas. But you're really being asked to make sure that you are still communicating that stuff and not keeping it just internal, because perhaps the information, the wisdom that you're sharing is part of that way showing, bringing the light to others, that sort of a thing. You are one of the unique signs here. You're the only sign that has Uranus going through this mental rewrite in this kind of sector of your life. And so, it is kind of your job to be sharing some of those aha and breakthrough moments with the people around you without the fear of the judgment, because the universe wants you to share.
We got this, Libra. We got this. The judgment is not as scary as we have it in our minds. All right, Libras, let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if I was just giving myself a personal reading or if it was for you too. Let us know what resonates.
Carol, are you here, Carol?
We haven't heard from Carol yet, but I'm sure we'll hear from them on the replay. Love you guys. All right, Libras, there you go. Scorpios, final fourth of the wheel here. We got 3 more signs, y'all. We're almost done. We're doing great.
All righty. Hello, Scorpio, Scorpio sun, moon, and rising. Welcome to your mini tarot and astrology readings for the trines that are coming up between Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. I almost said Jupiter that time. Who knows?
Why not?
Why not? Why not? So if we pull up the chart here, we see that planets here are in 4 and 8. And your 4th house and your 8th house, to me, have a little bit, and the configuration between the two, have a little bit of a double whammy around personal transformation and family karma. Some of the houses, some of the planets, some of the signs that we are working with here just kind of hit those topics with like 2 check marks, or like bold and underlined at the same time. And so for Scorpio risings, this period of now until 2028, even a little bit into 2029, there'll really be a focus on the family dynamics and the soul contracts that are associated with your roots, your ancestors, your family, your parents. It can be a period of perhaps on how your upbringing, changing some of your understanding of that, changing some of the relationship patterns that were ingrained in you as you were a child, and going through kind of a process of, letting go of some of the old ways and stepping into some of the new. The fourth house is associated with also our roots, right? If we think about this chart, this is the lowest and the least visible part. The horizon line, right? Everything above the horizon is visible. Everything below the horizon is below the earth. And the fourth house and the IC and where we have Pluto at this time really does connect to that deeper inner part of yourself. We go home every day to, kind of rest and restore our bodies and our cells, right? We sleep and we come back renewed. Well, you're going into this house of, this second house of transformation here, the fourth house, to really reassess how those roots, how that upbringing, is creating the person that you have here with you today, and kind of how, again, some of the ideologies that were ingrained in you as a child are part of how you interact with others right now. Because the eighth house, where we have Uranus, is really about that exchange of, information, of resources, of things between you and another person. And this really is about how the other person and their feelings about you can kind of change and influence what is around you in both a material and kind of a mental, ideological kind of a way too. And so, as I said earlier, this idea of like these soul contracts that you have with your family, or these moments of karmic bonds, the karmic bonds that you might share with those who were involved in your upbringing, really seeing a change in that. Maybe you had a really estranged relationship with one of your parents for quite a period of time. Uranus and Gemini is asking us to kind of see a different side of the coin here, to maybe be experiencing a different type of how this relationship could be working into a way that ultimately, at the end of the day, kind of frees you from some of the karma or the bonds of the past and allows you to be more present and ready to kind of step into the new. There'll be quite a few disruptions of these soul contracts, heavy prices to pay, or, great karma to reap at the same time, that can kind of radically reconfigure those relationships. So Uranus wants to break the mold of these relationships, to allow you to have new opportunities for give and take, and in kind of a paradigm shift that creates this restorative process around the home. I'm kind of have gone through something similar around this recently. We just moved, and when you move, you kind of enter in a new community with different neighbors, a new social structure, and the information, the ideas, the stuff that you exchange with those people really starts to change. So while I don't have this personally going on, but to me, the energy is something similar to that. Changes inside of the home, allowing for different changes of information, changes in resources that are being shared, that ultimately kind of create these new bonds. And, previously we lived in a tough neighborhood and we know a lot of great things there. And all of a sudden it's been this really big transformation. So, Scorpios, karma is really just kind of what a lot of this is about for you. Karma is cause and effect. Don't incur more karma or negative karma by demanding or plotting or scheming for that which you think you should be reaping right now. Like, the universe will dole out what's appropriate for you at this time. But do know that if you've put in the work and you are waiting for something to turn or shift, or you feel like you're being owed something by others, there is quite a bit of an opportunity for that to be coming in, but it isn't something that you should be forcing. It's really something that you should be opening up for and just kind of allowing.
All right. Love that song. Karma. Karma gets such a bad rap though, and even the term negative karma, I like more and more. I'm just like, I don't even like that, because I feel like karma really is so much more about like balancing energies than it is about like punishment or even like cause and effect. Like I get what you're saying with that.
No,
but
it's
it is, it's more.
I like that too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's for Scorpio rising, there's a big demand in the balancing of the energetic relationships. Scorpio, you're Mars ruled. In what ways have you found yourself being a martyr or overperforming or overgiving inside of relationships that hasn't maybe been always met or equal? Perhaps you find yourself in a new, really enlivening sort of relationship where things are much more give and take, much more 50-50, much more harmonious. This could unwrite years, months, decades of sacrifice. We talked about Mars earlier with that concept of sacrifice or martyrdom. This could be about getting those riches and the rewards for the good work that you've put in. But again, be careful on how much you tell the universe that it's yours to take now.
All right. So cards here for you, Scorpios, risings, suns, and moons. First up, we have the Two of Swords. And I feel like this right at the bat is pointing to the choices that you have, the choice in this. I think with the topics of fate and fortune, we often talk about predetermination, the idea that, your path is decided already and your soul is, forcing you along that. I think we're being reminded that there are always choices. And the choice for you, I think, is really rooted in what is best for you, what is enjoyable, what is delightful. That Four of Wands, I think, also speaks to the stability of it as well, in that what is stable, what has a solid foundation. And I think for you, some of the key here is stepping into that receptive divine feminine energy. Corbin was talking about like, don't force this. Don't try to force the universe to give you what you want. Don't manipulate others to do that. I think there's a message here about stepping into that divine feminine energy, allowing for the creation to come from a aligned place rather than forcing it, because the Empress is followed by the Magician. There's really this like earth magic that you're being called to embody more of, because the wheel is turning. You have the Wheel of Fortune here, of course, because it's all about karma for you. The wheel is turning, and it's going to turn whether you want it to or not, whether you're participating in that process or not. I think there's a message here, especially with this Knight of Wands in the end position here, for you to really take action in this, but not maybe in the ways that you might first think, because again, there's that divine feminine energy here within this read for you of allowing rather than forcing. Mm-hmm. And if you stay in your heart, if you're thinking about the impacts on those around you, if you're working with your own gifts, this is going to be beautiful. It's when you're out of alignment that things are going to get wonky.
Yeah. I mean, I pulled the moon, so mm-hmm. I had to run to the restroom, but I heard a little bit about emotion, and I heard a little bit about divine feminism, and I heard a little bit about how, I mean, Scorpio, emotion's a tough thing to begin with for you here. So really it's about making sure that your waters stay pure throughout this process, and that you're staying open to receive. So,
yeah. I feel like there's something here too about maybe music or like the arts, or like how you create, and that being something that can help to be a outlet for you or be a balancing effect for you. Yeah. There you go. Yes, Scorpios. So let us know what resonates for you in that reading, in the astrology as well. And if you have a Scorpio in your life, share this out with that Scorpio. Ken's a Scorpio moon, and he said perfect. Thanks, Ken. Love it. All right, Saggies, you're up next.
We said we weren't going to take 3 hours. We're totally taking,
We're taking 3 hours. Absolutely.
All righty. Hey, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Welcome on in for your mini tarot and astrology readings for the transits, the trines that are happening here between Uranus in Pluto. No, Uranus isn't in Pluto. Uranus is in Gemini, and Pluto's in Aquarius. And this is happening in your 7th and 3rd houses here. And so right off the bat, Sagittarius, I just have to say, the culture of your life and the relationships that make your life meaningful, pleasurable, and special, that's all about to change, or is undergoing a huge process of transformation and up-leveling, which is really exciting here. It can bring in new ideas, new thoughts, new opportunities for learning all about the kind of culture around you, the world that you live in. And this can really create some deeper influences that resonate in the relationships that you have, right? Through changing your localized environment or changing what you're involved in every single day. You might meet new people to partner with. And of course, these partners are going to be more aligned with you and where you are headed, not so much as aligned with your past. So as we move into the chart here, with Uranus inside of the 7th house, the Great Awakener here is here to awaken you to your sensual pleasures. You know, I previously talked about how the 7th house can be related to this topic of pleasure and the good things that come out of relationships. And again, that just comes from this idea that planets will cross over this descendant, which is representative of the horizon, and move into union with the Earth. We actually thought that they went into the Earth a long time ago. And so this idea of union is that which is pleasing or pleasurable or sexy. And for you, Sagittarius rising, Uranus really wants to break you out of the mold of what relationships might have used to look like for you, or maybe what pleasure used to mean for you inside of a relationship. You'll be finding yourself looking for new experiences that allow you to feel a greater sense of freedom, awakeness, aliveness, to be able to take on different and unique roles inside of relationships. You might find a new cast of characters showing up for you to be relating with. And again, all of this is going to be really exciting, something that you want to call your mom about, or, something that you're going to want to share with somebody else, because it really livens you up. It really gets you excited here. Now, in modern astrology, we look at Uranus and sexuality and queerness. This is not a transit that is going to make you queer, but it definitely is a transit that is going to push your boundaries inside of relationships to have new and unique experiences that are best for you. So very much this realm of experimentation and trying new things. Maybe you've always been heavily partnered and you find yourself all of a sudden solo. It can go, take some time to reflect on your past relationships and maybe how you've had some nudges and urges to try something new or go a new direction with that. That is really what some of that energy is about. And Pluto in the 3rd, I think of the 3rd as our personalized fish tank. It's your own aquarium. It's called the House of the Moon. So thinking about your home, the people inside of it, the surroundings right around it, your localized neighborhood. And that's what I mean by kind of the culture of your life. I live in a Midwestern culture. I live on a river, so I have this kind of river culture. And there's something about the area that you live and the kind of the lifestyle that you incorporate every single day that has begun to start to shift and change and transform for you. So think of it as getting new pebbles and new plants inside of your fish tank, or a new companion inside of your fish tank too, because like this is a very, very social energy, right? Both Gemini and Aquarius are air signs that we express these energies in the ways that we relate and connect with other people. And so Pluto's here really just to shake things up and to create a new localized environment for you to be existing inside of. Of course, there'll be physical components of it, but there'll also be new kind of mental places that you will call home base that you're kind of working from. And at the end of the day, this really just kind of radically changes your everyday life and gets you in touch with, again, new people to interact with, new social groups where you're sharing a different kind of information than you did before. You know, a reminder that these planets were closing things out, were ending chapters of your life in 2024 in a different part of your world. And so some of the space that was created during that period now is being filled by some of this new social excitement that's kind of coming in. So again, new ways of communicating, sharing information, new information that's being shared. And I always think about our third house as our place of like our home for our psychic gifts and our intuition, because it's associated with our moon, the moon and our clairs. And so there could be huge activations for you in stepping into these powers, especially with Pluto coming through here, really finding a new set of internal skills to be directed from. So this is a really exciting time for Sagittarius rising, sun, moon, and rising. These are fun places that are seeing renovation. I recently talked about something as feeling like carnival, and I can't remember what that is, but like this is the idea. Like it's almost the excitement of like new attractions coming to your life for you to enjoy. So yay, Sagittarius, this is a really good one for you.
I love it. I was thinking about the fish tank at our chiropractor's office and how there's these two fish in there that have been in there forever. And like, what would a third fish do to that dynamic? Like, how would another fish change that, you know, that energy in that tank?
I would have never thought about that, but I totally know what you mean.
Yeah, but you think about your fish tank and you think about the ways that people, things like that, those changes really do shift you as well. Like yes. you're a part of that. All right, let's see what those cards have to say for you, our Sagittarians. Thank you. All right. Sagittarius. Rising suns and moons. We've got quite a few cards here for you. First up, we have the universe, consecration, the King of Cups, and we have the Ace of Pentacles as our first three here. And I feel like this new creation, this new birthing, is like. There's a feminine quality to this for you, in maybe it's like the newness of it, but it could also be in some of the softness, maybe the sensuality side of it, right? We were talking about the sex side of things, like that could be a part of that as well. I mean, we have consecration on the card there, and transition, King of Cups. There's this emotional shift and change that's happening. And all I can think about is the fish tank with this too, all the water, right? Your fish tank is shifting and changing. And that Ace of Pentacles is a beautiful sign for a new, very grounded, very real change in your life. And that I feel like that Ace of Pentacles is doubled down on by this moon coming out. And I love the words on these cards because they're not necessarily always the traditional word associations. We have generation followed by gratification. I feel like there really is something here about what is pleasurable to you, what is enjoyable to you, and you're finding more of a equilibrium with that. We have destiny coming up again. So there's some karma in this for you. we know that those people leaving and coming into our lives oftentimes have soul contracts with us, oftentimes have past life connections to us as well. And it's not always easy to navigate those shifts and those changes. This Five of Swords would say that there's maybe some strife there. There's maybe some tough feelings. I also always notice with this how both figures are, like, I always see the same person there. It's like killing the old version of you is what I often see in this card. It's that transformational moment where you're tipping over the edge of that change. And it's Five of Swords followed by the Six of Swords ascendancy. I feel like we really have this mental shift for you that is a part of your ascendancy, a part of your expansion, a part of bringing in more of that soul light, and that it's through all of this change and transformation that you're going to find your way to a more whole you.
I love that because I have the ascendant that I pulled here too. And so I loved a lot of what you were saying in the sense of like, there's a lot of you at the center of the equation, especially as it always relates inside of relationships. But I'll go a little bit further here. The ruler of Sagittarius being Jupiter at this time inside of Leo and inside of your 9th house, Sag risings, there is something that you're being asked to be exploring as it relates to some of those perspectives that you're holding as it relates to these relationships about what you do want. So this could be opening up to a belief or letting go of an old belief so that you can open up to a new type of relationship or a new type of pleasure that you're wanting to bring in. But it is saying that there's something perhaps about the belief systems that as they orient the direction that you're going, Sagittarius, right? Like your arrow is pointed towards that. So a little bit of a question around, does that North Star align with the new vision that is coming in for relationships? I have to imagine so, but it's just a question to ask.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and as always, I remember that, some of the energies, whether it be the chaotic energies or the unknown or like the surprises that come with this, we don't always get the roadmap. We rarely get the whole roadmap to our lives from our higher selves, from our soul. We are meant to be surprised. We are meant to have these moments of genuine, whoa, what's going on? Because it's in those moments where we are able to more authentically express our soul's desires, and remembering that at the soul level there isn't the positive and negative in the ways that we associate. There isn't like the growth or degradation in the ways that we associate. It's about learning, it's about expansion, and that doesn't always look like stereotypical growth, right? So yeah. Thanks, Lynn. Thanks for sticking around for your rising. Mm-hmm. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And hello to those of you joining. Make sure you go back and listen to the replay because we're almost wrapped up with the signs here.
Yeah, we did not start with Aries. We started with Aquarius. So Capricorn, this is our last sign. So thanks for being patient, Capricorns. Welcome on in, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your mini tarot and astrology reading for the trines that are occurring between Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini over the next few years. They actually go all the way degree-based until 2028 and, just very, very close until 2029. So quite a longer transit here from these two outer moving planets. As we look at the chart, Capricorns, I am noticing that these planets are in your 2nd and 6th houses. And right off the bat, this is very, very big entrepreneurial energy for those hardworking Capricorns out there. This is really all about the skills that you have and the hard work that you absolutely put in all of the time, and how that's opening up new opportunities for you moving forward. The first thing, though, the other thing that I want to mention off the bat before we dive in is the concept of breath work. I'm mentioning this for all of the earth signs today, because your energy is so grounded, is so three-dimensional, and is so far away from the air. One of the things that I think is really important to help to bring this shift in energy of the outer planets as they moved from feminine signs into masculine signs would be thinking about this concept of breath work, or the breath or breathing, and thinking on how you can kind of incorporate that into your daily life. It's just something that is available right now to really be honoring the change in the energies that have gone on, and really a way that can work with your kind of unique composition to help you go through any moments of like things being too fast or maybe too tumultuous for you. But to get into the chart here, Pluto inside of the second house is really going to be focused on reworking the resources of your lifetime. So this could be the time, energy, money. These are all kind of those common standard resources. One of my favorite things to toot about the second house would be the resource of self-esteem, and how we use our esteem to support ourselves and to support ourselves in how we move through this world. And these are all things, again, right, that prop us up and help us to make it through. And with Pluto coming through here, there could really be a moment where you are stepping into growing new and different kinds of skills. But what actually Pluto is kind of at times about hitting the apex or hitting a moment of mastery. And so there might be something that you've been working on developing, perhaps all the way back to 2024, when these two were first kind of in a trine in the air signs, and about taking some of these newer skills, newer abilities, and really just seeing where that can kind of take you in life. I know that when I learned about like astrology, and astrology became like a fluid skill for me, that really changed my personal self-esteem, right? And that I felt more confident in myself having this new skill. And so there's very much this idea here for Capricorns on how learning something new, becoming better at something, one can change the ability for you to earn in this lifetime. So these new skills could lead you into opportunities for where the resources flow and move differently inside of your life. I would love to say that we're all getting rich, Capricorns, but perhaps, well, maybe we are all getting rich, but
Call that in.
Aquarius here is actually at times breaking away from the old convention. So we might be valuing things that aren't actual, like money. But you might still be, you never know.
And hopefully the systems are shifting to match up with that.
Absolutely. And with Uranus in the sixth, a reminder that some of these things that you're growing and developing in the sixth house or in the second house, so like a new skill, the sixth house is about your kind of everyday routines. So perhaps the first thing, as you're becoming better at something, as you're learning about something new, perhaps you want to be thinking about what an up leveling that would undergo if it became a daily process for you, if it became part of what you were doing every single day. That could really amplify your proficiency of a particular thing. But again, the sixth house in general can relate to sacrifice, this topic of working hard. I've heard it referred to, the sixth house, as a chop wood and carry water. It's all about doing the chores to kind of keep your daily life going, or it's like the house of brushing your teeth. And at this time, there will be new things that we are being called to work hard for and to sacrifice for. There are new ideals for which we want to kind of take up that mission and work towards it. So picking up a skill would be really, really great. Understanding what this skill and how it leads into like a bigger ideology, perhaps the skill allows more self-sufficiency, and then there's this ideology of independence that is something that you are incorporating more and creating more of in your daily life through kind of this harmony in your sixth and second house. Now, again, these two areas trine your 10th house. So in ways that this could incorporate into something that was a little bit more public, is very well in part of this too. Sixth house also deals with like our health, topics of health. And so there could be a period here where issues with the body come up for healing, right? Uranus can be sudden, quick, out of the blue problems with the body. It also could mean, new ways of going about the healing that is required for the body, new out of the box ideas that could be incorporated into your healing journey, that could really help with whatever physical ailments might be going on. So there might be a little bit of experimentation around diet, sleep, just kind of how you organize your personal health and that sort of a thing. So you could be working on healing some of these like chronic issues. Big swings here though for Capricorn. And yeah, let's get into the cards and then we'll see what else comes up.
Yeah, I love it. Big shifts coming for us all in different ways. All right, let's see what the cards have to say to our lovely Capricorns, suns, risings especially, and moons. Thank you. All right, my dear Capricorns. All right, yeah, you've got some big shifts and changes coming for you, as I'm sure you are prepared to handle, as Capricorns are. They are very resilient. All right, we got Magician coming up first, followed by the King of Swords. And I feel like these first two cards are, as we've had similar messages for the other signs too, it's tapping into your magic in a new way. That Magician card, I feel like, could speak to those gifts, those talents, those skills that you might be accumulating or developing. And I think you're really being called to share it, to communicate it, to speak it out. I think there's also an element of channeling here for you as well, in the ways that you're being called to work with your higher self. You may not always feel that connection to spirit in tangible ways, but you're being called to facilitate and step into that channel more, because it's through that work with your higher self, through bringing that light in, that you're unshackling yourself, that you're reorienting yourself to your own mountain, as we've said a few times here, right? The Devil card comes up once more, and we have that little goat hanging out there, top of the chimney. Are you climbing your mountain, or are you climbing someone else's? And I think really, I mean, we have the Tower coming up next, and that Devil followed by the Tower. This is a big shift for you. This is going to be hugely transformational and probably going to be kind of sudden. I would say if there's a card that aligns with Uranus, it's the Tower, right? It's that quick, sudden.
And there's the lightning bolts traditionally. Is associated with Uranus.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I really love how we have the King of Swords, and we also have the King of Pentacles. And so there really is this masculine energy here, this divine masculine energy. There's this sense of mastery. I feel like you said the word mastery.
Yeah, Pluto can very much bring that in.
Yeah. There's this mastery here, and I feel like there really is a need here to not get caught up in the wrong details, to not allow yourself to be swept up in perhaps some of the hang-ups of the past, or those ways that you tripped yourself up before, or maybe the world tripped you up, right? Don't let that old pattern, that old situation or experience influence this new, because we have the Eight of Pentacles and economy is there. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a little bit of reward at the end of this for you.
Yeah, I had pulled the Trine And, you know, the trine here is between the second house and the sixth house, your resources and the work. But, you know, again, take that trine to its third location, which is your 10th house, which brings it into the career. So Capricorn, you haven't been picking up these new skills for no reason. And if you aren't incorporating that into your work and bringing it to the larger world, you've really missed the message here at the end of the day. So these aren't new, fun, personal skills. They are skills that you can monetize and bring into your career. Oh, go figure. It's me in astrology. All righty.
All right, y'all. Thank you, Capricorns. Let us know what resonated for you in the messages there, in the astrology. Let us know what's coming up for you, what those first initial echoes you've been feeling are, because you're certainly a very astute and observational sign, and you've probably seen the signs already. So let us know. Let us know what's going on.
All right. What a marathon. Right. What a long haul. I just woofed up. Hot, cold, hungry, thirsty.
Watkins, thank you so much for hanging out. And Ken, thank you as well. All of you who have hung out with us live for this show. We really appreciate it. Lynn, shout out Lynn. I know you had to go, but.
And everyone watching on replay.
Yeah, and we love you all on the replay as well. I know we were planning this show, I think, a couple of weeks ago on a weeknight. And here we are. And it's the time. The time is now.
Well, and I mean, I said it, but Uranus in my sixth. I've been doing a lot of energy healing and a lot of those energy healing sessions have been taking a lot out of me, and so I'm not doing shows after them anymore, which is why we ended up moving our previously scheduled show. But that lines up with that mini reading for Capricorn.
That it does. So
these have been really fun shows and a really cool new format. We have one more of these planned based off of the astrology that's going on this year, and that's really to unpack. Is it unpack? Oh, no. It's not the other side of the basket. It's upcoming trines between Saturn and Jupiter. Which traditionally Saturn and Jupiter, when they come together and have their synodic cycle, in the ancient world, we really looked at that to understand the changes in the epochs and the eras. They come together, I want to say it's like 30 some years or something like that. I'm going to do some research. And but yeah, it's a good one for understanding the changes in our reality. The two slowest moving traditional planets used to really have like a lot of significations into what the manifestation of reality is going to be. So
stay tuned for more.
It's all on that fire side. It's the fire side of the basket that we'll be breaking down. We're just never going to fucking talk about the whole basket.
All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed. I'll get timestamps below as well and get a playlist thrown together so we can revisit and check back in on this guidance, because as we've talked about, this is long-standing energy. We're moving through this for a while.
Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing you next time.
Love you all.